Chapter 848. The roar isn't bad, but it's still a bit lacking. Tianyun said as he tidied up his clothes. In fact, they weren't any different from before. He just wanted to show that the roar had no effect on him at all. However, if it was someone with a lower cultivation base, their soul would have been directly shattered by this roar. But because it was only a trace of a soul, even if it was shattered by the roar, it wouldn't be a big problem, but it would still take some time to recuperate. Demon God Yulong looked at the little human in front of him with a hint of shock in his eyes. He was trapped here, but the power of his roar was absolutely unbearable for an ordinary cultivator. If one wanted to resist it, they would need to be at least at the peak Saint King stage, otherwise, how could they resist his power? Even a peak Saint King stage cultivator wouldn't be able to resist it so easily, which meant that the cultivation of the young man in front of him was at least at the God King stage. Such a young God King stage master caused his eyes to flash with desire, a desire to devour. If he could devour the life of a God King, it would definitely be of great help to him. Boy, did you come in here to kill me? Then hurry up and kill me. You have so many masters, but you can't even kill me, you can only trap me. What kind of skill is this? Give me a little more time, when I get out, I'll devour you all. Demon God Yulong looked at him and laughed, his eyes full of contempt. To put it bluntly, he looked down on him. Tianyun stood outside the cage and looked at him. He knew that the other party wanted to lure him in. Inside the cage, Demon God Yulong could do a lot of things to him. If he could devour his soul, his strength would definitely increase, and he might even be able to escape from the suppression here. Tianyun had to admit that the suppression here was very perfect, whether it was the many nails, the huge cage, or the chains binding him, all of them were used to suppress him. However, even if there was a terrifying suppression, the roar just now still released a lot of power. If he went in, he would most likely die. Is that so? I'm really a little interested. Looks like you've been trapped in there for too long. Even your brain isn't working. Tianyun smiled. Then, he disappeared from the spot and left the space. After Tianyun went out, he said to the heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet, "Let my body go in, I want to meet him." After he entered and observed carefully, he realized that everything was within his acceptable range. Therefore, he decided to enter and battle Demon God Long Yu. Especially now that he was trapped inside, his strength was greatly suppressed. He was not worried that the other party would be able to suppress him. Moreover, he had a lot of trump cards. He could slip away with a single teleportation, so how could he catch him? The heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet shook its head and refused. It's too dangerous. If we go in, I don't know what tricks he'll use. Tianyun was half his master, but he didn't want his master to enter dangerous areas. This was the difference between a phantom spirit and a tool spirit. The artifact spirit was intelligent and knew what to do. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Otherwise, I wouldn't have forced my way in. Besides, aren't you here to suppress him? If anything goes wrong, just drag me out, said Tianyun. After a moment of silence, the heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet nodded and said, "All right then, be careful. This guy is crafty and has countless abilities. It's possible for him to suddenly attack." "Well, of course I know that." Tianyun nodded. Then, the heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet teleported him into the space. This time, he entered with his body. This meant that if he was attacked, it wouldn't be as simple as his soul being injured. His body would suffer as well. As soon as he entered, Demon God Long Yu's eyes lit up when he saw him. "I thought you ran away. It turns out that you really have some guts to come in." Demon God Long Yu's eyes were filled with surprise. He was definitely overjoyed that the other party was willing to come in. Tianyun walked step by step to the outside of the cage and stood there looking at him. Then, he immediately stepped into the cage. Then, as if passing through a layer of ripples, he arrived inside the cage. After entering, he immediately felt a pressuring aura everywhere. Even if he was nailed to the wall, he wouldn't be able to escape. Demon God Long Yu still didn't know his place. Terrifying power was released from his body. Looking at it from a close distance, he could see the dense nails nailed to his body. Due to his super healing ability, the wounds had long since stopped bleeding. The moment he entered, Demon God Long Yu's eyes flickered. The power in his body immediately erupted and enveloped the area. Not good. The heavenly rock suppressing ancient tablet immediately sensed that something was wrong. It immediately wanted to mobilize its power to move Yi Tianyun out. However, Demon God Long Yu released circles of power from his body, enveloping Yi Tianyun inside. Immediately, the heavenly rock suppressing ancient tablet's power couldn't seep in at all. Instead, it was blocked outside. This meant that Yi Tianyun was locked inside and couldn't come out. A puny artifact spirit dares to be arrogant in front of me? It's not a puny artifact spirit that's suppressing me here, but these array nails. Do you think you can control this place with your power? You're too naive. Demon God Long Yu laughed. He looked down at Yi Tianyun from the sky and said, I didn't expect that after waiting for so long, food finally came in. And it's perfect food. A young god king. TSK, after eating you, breaking out of this place is just around the corner. He didn't expect that Demon God Long Yu could still burst out with such terrifying power after being nailed here. He could even block the power of the heavenly rock suppressing ancient tablet. It seemed that after being trapped here all these years, not only did he not weaken, but he could also gradually become stronger. Is that so? Yi Tianyun stood inside with a calm expression. He already knew that Demon God Long Yu would have some tricks up his sleeves. Otherwise, he wouldn't have provoked him to come in. However, he came in because he was full of confidence in himself. After coming in and using the appraisal eye, he knew that he wasn't qualified to face Demon God Long Yu. Not bad, you're still quite calm. But I've seen too many people like you who pretend to be calm. Do you think that I can't do anything to you just because I'm trapped here? You're too naive. I've seen stupid people, but I've never seen such a stupid person. Even the heaven-creating divine king and the others can't deal with me. Do you think you can deal with me? You want to be a hero? This method is the stupidest I've ever seen. But because of your stupidity, you've given me hope of getting out in advance. I really have to thank you. I'll have a good taste of you later. Chapter 849. Demon God Long Yu could not move his limbs, but his mouth could release a terrifying suction force that enveloped Yi Tianyun, trying to suck him into his mouth. The huge nails on Demon God Long Yu's body prevented him from grabbing Yi Tianyun with his hands, so he could only use his terrifying suction force to suck Yi Tianyun in. But this was still very powerful, not to mention a cultivator, even a huge mountain would be sucked in. Yi Tianyun immediately felt a suction force around him, but no matter how hard the suction force tried to pull him, he didn't move at all. He was as steady as a rock, standing on the ground without moving half a step. Is this all you've got? Yi Tianyun looked at him disdainfully. The heavenly rock suppressing ancient tablet, who had been paying attention to this, was shocked. Yi Tianyun was completely fine, and he looked like he had a card up his sleeve. Demon God Long Yu was shocked. In order to suck Yi Tianyun in, he had used all his strength. He thought that he could succeed in one fell swoop, but Yi Tianyun was completely fine. This was obviously beyond his expectations. He thought that even a God King stage level 1 cultivator would not be able to withstand his terrifying suction force. Even if he was not sucked in, at least he would move a little. But Yi Tianyun did not move an inch, and he just stood there like a rock. Little did he know that Yi Tianyun had already used the heaven-trembling divine art, and the terrifying gravitational force even Demon God Swot, who was at the God King stage level 2, was unable to move. Demon God Long Yu's cultivation was not weak, but it was impossible to suck him up with just the suction force. After a while, Demon God Long Yu stopped devouring, and his expression was frighteningly cold. No wonder you came in, so you're quite capable. If you have the ability, remove the nails on my body and fight me fair and square. Demon God Long Yu said solemnly. Do you think I'm an idiot? Tianyun sneered. You're an idiot, but don't think that others are idiots like you. An 8th level God King stage expert was schemed against by 3 weaker God Kings. Don't you think you're an idiot? What did you say? Devil God Long Yu was infuriated, and he waved his arms wildly, causing the wall to tremble. The huge nails on the wall moved slightly, and at the same time, the divine runes on the nails glowed with light, pinning him to the wall. What he hated the most was hearing people talk about him like that. His cultivation was supposed to be able to crush everything, but he had been ruthlessly schemed against. This was a great humiliation to him. Now that it was brought up by Tianyun, he was immediately enraged. In his rage, the huge nails on his swaying arms started to ooze blood. One could imagine how angry he was. Didn't you hear me clearly? I said you're an idiot, a fool. Tianyun chuckled and leaped into the air, transforming into a gigantic mountain that crashed toward Demon God Long Yu. Boom! Demonic God Long Yu's body caved in from the impact. If not for the fact that the walls were tougher, the walls would have collapsed. Poochie! Demon God Long Yu spat out a mouthful of blood. That terrifying collision had caused him quite a bit of damage. However, after the collision, its huge body quickly began to heal. His super healing ability soon showed itself here. Ha, it's useless. Hit me as you like, smash me as you like. If you can kill me, then it's your win. Demon God Long Yu laughed loudly, his eyes filled with excitement. You're really tough. However, I won't be in a rush to kill you. I'll slowly exhaust you to death. So much EXP, how can I waste it? Tianyun looked at him up and down, his eyes revealed a somewhat sinister expression. Experience points? Demon God Long Yu was stunned. He did not know what Tianyun was talking about. Even the Heaven Rock suppressing ancient tablet did not know what Tianyun was talking about. Upgrade Heaven Devourer Divine Art. Ding, successfully deducted 5 million proficiency points, upgraded Heaven Devourer Divine Art to middle grade Heaven class martial art. Following that, he placed his hand on Demon God Long Yu's huge body. A terrifying suction force was immediately released from his hand, devouring the energy in Demon God Long Yu's body. He had not used this martial art for a long time. Previously, there were too many experts coming over, and he could not devour them one by one. This would waste too much time. Now that the Heaven Devourer Divine Art had appeared again, he had a lot of time now and had nothing else to do. The only problem now was Demon God Long Yu. As long as he killed Demon God Long Yu, there would not be any problems for the time being. All that was left was to exterminate all the evil spirit race in the 3 realms. Then, the root of the 3 realms disaster would be considered to be over. The final goal was to unify the 3 realms so that he could strengthen his cultivation and fight against the evil spirit race that was preparing to invade. Therefore, he had a lot of time to slowly absorb Demon God Long Yu and absorb all his energy. Tianyun did not believe that if he devoured his energy bit by bit, how could he resist? No matter what kind of life it was, if it did not have energy, it would not be able to do anything. This included the soul. Tianyun guessed that there was a lot of energy stored in Demon God Long Yu's body, which allowed him to survive until now and quickly heal himself. As for what it was, he was still not sure. In any case, he could just use it as an upgrade to devour experience points. There was no hurry. 1,500,000 experience points, 1,800,000 experience points, 2,000,000 experience points, 1,900,000 experience points. After the Devouring Heaven Divine Art was upgraded, its effect had greatly increased. Originally, he could only devour 70,000 to 80,000 experience points, but it was still good overall. Although it was only about 2 million experience points each time, it was still good overall, and he would soon accumulate to 100 million experience points. If he used crazy experience mode, it would definitely be an explosive amount of experience points. However, the absorption was still a bit too slow. This was the reason why he chose not to use it for the time being. It would take a lot of time to absorb the energy of a Saint King stage powerhouse. Therefore, without a lot of time, he really did not dare to absorb the energy of a Divine King stage powerhouse. What's going on? Demon God Long Yu was shocked. He found that the energy in his body was being extracted crazily. He had always been the one devouring the energy of others, but now it was the other way around. Someone could devour his energy. Even the 3 divine kings couldn't extract his energy, but now a newcomer could do it, which made him feel incredulous. It's nothing, I'm just exhausting you bit by bit. Tianyun was calm and leisurely devoured the energy steadily. At the same time, he activated Crazy Experience Mode. Obtained 64 million experience points, 63,200,000 experience points, 63,500,000 experience points. Under the effect of 32 times, his experience points suddenly skyrocketed. How could it be described with the word cool? If he continued like this, leveling up would not be a problem. Chapter 850. After stacking Crazy Experience Mode, the experience gained made him feel extremely refreshed. If he had more experience cards, he could still use them, and the experience would be even more explosive. He had a high multiplier experience card now, and he wasn't in a hurry to use it. It would be a waste if Demon God Longyue ran dry after absorbing for a while. The best use was undoubtedly when Demon God Longyue was about to die. At that time, he could kill him at the same time, and the experience gained would be truly explosive. Get lost. Demon God Longyue shook his body, trying to fling Tianyun away, but it was as if he was stuck to the surface, and there was no way to shake him off. He was forcefully fixed on the surface, and he was rapidly devouring the experience. How could Tianyun let go of so much experience? It was much better than killing those low-level cultivators, and he was continuously gaining experience. Hopefully, it would provide him with a new level of experience. No matter how hard Demon God Longyue tried, he couldn't shake Tianyun off, and he was still stuck to the surface. Shortly after, the shield outside disappeared. Demon God Longyue couldn't maintain it, and it was useless against Tianyun, so there was no need to maintain it. Didn't you want to devour me? Come and devour me now. Let's see who devours who. Tianyun sneered, and the suction force in his hand gradually increased. Unless this guy self-destructed, it was impossible to shake him off. Demon God Longyue was infuriated, and he kept shaking his body, trying to shake Tianyun off, but he was unable to do so. If it were someone of other cultivation, he would have been thrown off. But how was Tianyun an ordinary person? The powerful suction force was enough to make him unable to be thrown off. Demon God Longyue wanted to devour someone, but how could they devour someone like this? They would directly devour the person into their mouth, and not devour the energy bit by bit like this. It was simply too strange. The heavenly rock suppressing ancient tablet couldn't help but shiver. Why did it feel like Tianyun was even more strange than Demon God Longyue? However, he was more delighted than anything else. If this were to continue, he might really be able to kill Demon God Longyue. If he could slay Demonic God Longyue, he wouldn't have to suppress him anymore, and his mission would be considered complete. Then, something strange happened. Tianyun just stuck to him. Demon God Longyue kept shaking his body, but he was still unable to shake Tianyun off. Soon, Demon God Longyue realized that he was unable to suppress Tianyun. Fear crept into his heart. If this continued, he would definitely be sucked dry. Human, I'm willing to trade other things for you. As long as you're willing to stop, not only am I willing to leave the 3 realms, but I'm also willing to tell the ancestral land not to attack the 3 realms. In addition, I can give you many treasures in exchange for this reconciliation. In the end, Demonic God Longyue decided to compromise. This was the first time he felt the fear of death, so he could only choose to compromise. I wonder if your brains have been kicked by a donkey. How could you tell such a lie? If I let you go, forget about the benefits, I suspect the 3 realms will die even faster. Yi Tianyun sneered, if you want to say something, you have to make it more believable. For example, you have to swear to become my slave or something, and listen to my orders forever. That's something I can believe. The rest is bullshit. Demon God Long Yu's face darkened. He did have the intention to lie, but who knew that his excuse would be seen through? It was fine if he said it to a 3-year-old, but who would believe him when he said it to Yi Tianyun? Who could believe the words of a demon? Whoever believed him would die first. Forget about treasures, this guy would probably start a massacre the moment he was released. Then kill me if you can. If you kill me, the ancestral land will definitely sense my death, and they will speed up their attack on the 3 realms. If you choose to submit to me now, I can give you a place to stay. Otherwise, you'll die without a doubt. Demon God Long Yu changed on a whim. Before, he was willing to compromise, but in the blink of an eye, he became a domineering demon god. This has always been their way of doing things. First, they used benefits to tempt them. Then, when the enticement failed, they started to threaten them, revealing their true intentions. Alright. I've heard your words so much that I've grown calluses. You all speak the same way. Whether it's that guy in the ocean, or demon god Suate, or demon god Suagu, they all speak the same way. Yi Tianyun said indifferently, but they went down before you. Soon, you'll be following them. Suate and Suagu. Demon god Long Yu raged, you killed my disciple. So it's your disciple. No wonder they came to find you. Yi Tianyun smiled, but don't worry, you'll be joining them soon. Fiend god Long Yu was enraged and said furiously, if you can kill me, then give it a try. Even the 3 god kings couldn't kill me, even if you can devour energy, you still can't kill me. Is that so? Anyway, I'll give it a try. Yi Tianyun didn't bother to pay attention to him and continued to concentrate on absorbing energy. Experience skyrocketed, basically 100 million superimposed, but the consumption of crazy point is a bit higher. This high level of crazy mode consumes a lot of crazy point. As high as 10,000 crazy point per minute, it's really high. After all, it's every minute, not every hour. But no matter how amazing it is, it's better than buying EXP card. 32 times crazy mode is equivalent to 32 times EXP card, which is sold for more than 1 million in the mall. Of course, if it's restored to the original price, it's only a few 100,000. In other words, it can only last for 30 to 40 minutes, not even an hour, it's a big loss. Of course, 30 times EXP card is very expensive now, so it's worth it to use crazy mode. Demon God Long Yu maintained this state and continued to let Yi Tianyun devour energy. His face became gloomier and gloomier as if he was thinking about something. But even if he has a lot of plans, he can't use them now. His whole body is nailed to the wall, how can he make a move? If he could, he would have done it a long time ago, and he wouldn't be trapped here. Yi Tianyun looked at Demon God Long Yu and saw that Demon God Long Yu didn't say anything, so he could continue devouring the energy. If he continues like this, leveling up won't be a problem. Chapter 851. Yi Tianyun kept devouring without stopping, and soon he gained tens of billions of EXP. When he felt that the energy inside Demon God Long Yu's body began to weaken, he didn't hesitate to use the 150 times EXP card. After using it, his total EXP immediately increased to 182 times. But it's not over yet, he used the shop to clear all the EXP cards back to the original price, and then from 5 times all the way to 50 times. They are 5 times, 10 times, 30 times, and 50 times EXP card. Originally, he wanted to buy a higher multiplier, but the price is too high, even if he cleared them, the price is still too high. His crazy point is now stretched, unless he sells divine tools like crazy, otherwise, he really can't buy these high multiplier EXP cards. As for the discount card, there is no need to waste it for the time being. After buying 4 EXP cards, his total EXP stacked up to 277 times. Once again, the EXP stacked to an unprecedented height. This is a big fat sheep, he must kill Demon God Long Yu, so he must use all the EXP cards. Demon God Long Yu is an 8th level God King stage cultivator, the EXP is absolutely explosive, how can he waste this opportunity? Perhaps he can save it for when the evil spirit race invaders come, the effect will be even more amazing. He definitely understands this, but if a super expert, such as a peak God King stage cultivator comes, it will be even more terrifying. At that time, he won't even have the chance to kill the weak evil spirit race, let alone make a big profit. He always looks at the future, he only looks at the present. Boom! Under the effect of 277 times EXP, the EXP instantly exploded. 550 million EXP gained, 555 million EXP gained, 540 million EXP gained, Etienne's EXP increased to 500 million in one breath, this is exactly the feeling he wanted to have. Under this crazy EXP, the EXP he gained quickly accumulated, much faster than before. In less than a short time, a pleasant voice sounded in his ear. Ding! Congratulations to player Etienne for successfully breaking through to 2nd level God King stage. After absorbing for a long time, he had gained a lot of experience. Now, with the explosive amount of experience, after absorbing for a while, he immediately leveled up. Sure enough, killing them after absorbing all their energy was the most effective. It was just that he didn't have enough time before, so he didn't get this benefit. Upgrade the heaven-devouring divine art for me. Etienne did not forget to level up this god art. He had gained quite a bit of proficiency when he was absorbing. When he felt that it was about time, he immediately chose to level it up. Successfully deducted 3,700,000 proficiency points, successfully upgraded the Devouring Heaven Divine Art to high-grade Heaven rank Martial Art, maximum level. The Heaven Swallowing Divine Art had leveled up to a high-grade Heaven rank Martial Art, just like that, it was maxed out. Boom! 11. 1 billion EXP gained, 11. 2 billion EXP gained, 11. 1 billion EXP gained, the experience points skyrocketed once again, but this time, it was not the stacking of experience cards. Instead, the extraction speed was increased by 20 times, so the effect was completely explosive. However, the result of this was that Demon God Long Yu's body began to shake violently. Starting from his feet, his body began to shrivel up rapidly. It was impossible for his body to maintain its original state when all the energy was rapidly extracted. This was the difference between an experience card and leveling up a martial art. No matter how many times the experience card was stacked, it would not affect the person absorbing it. After leveling up a martial art, the extraction speed increased, and the energy in the body of the person being absorbed would be drained very quickly. Not bad, seems like I can use this move in the future. Finally, this move had achieved a pretty good effect. If the efficiency was the same as before, it would definitely not be worth using. The absorption speed was too slow, and it would take a long time to drain a cultivator dry. How could it be like this in a battle? It would be even better if he could continue leveling up, but it was a pity that it was already at the maximum level. However, if he had not subdued so many god generals, continuously leveling up, and formed alliances, he would not have had so many proficiency points to continue leveling up. Under the frenzied absorption, Demon God Long Yu's legs began to turn into powder, completely drained, and turned into this state. Demon God Long Yu still did not make a sound, but his eyes were filled with shocking killing intent. However, he could not kill Etienne, so he could only let it happen. The heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet watched from the side, and it was deeply shocked by this situation. What's going on? The effect is even stronger than before. He could sense that Etienne's absorption speed had suddenly increased by a lot, and it gave him a huge shock. As Yi Tianyun absorbed, demon god Long Yu's body began to crumble bit by bit. His body began to turn into powder, crumbling inch by inch. This was clearly a very terrifying thing, but demon god Long Yu did not show any expression. He continued to stare coldly at Yi Tianyun. Under the continuous absorption, demon god Long Yu's body quickly lost more than half. Even with his super healing power, he still could not recover. How could he recover when all his energy was drained? When he absorbed to his chest, demon god Long Yu's eyes flashed with a cold glint, thinking that Yi Tianyun would continue to absorb. However, Yi Tianyun was sent flying backward, and an evil spirit divine sword appeared in his hand. It's about time. I can send you to the heavens now. As soon as Yi Tianyun finished speaking, he raised the evil spirit divine sword and slashed it down at demon god Long Yu's head. He felt that it was about time. Because he did not know what demon god Long Yu was thinking, he only had a little time left, and he would be able to kill this guy. He immediately gathered his strength and slashed down. A huge sword light slashed down at demon god Long Yu's head. When the sword light slashed down, a light suddenly appeared above demon god Long Yu's head and devoured the sword light. After devouring the sword light, demon god Long Yu's body began to recover quickly. It was clear that he had devoured the sword light's energy and absorbed it. Ha ha ha, did you not eat? You want to kill me with just this bit of ability? Demon god Long Yu laughed loudly. I thought you were strong. Even your old ancestor couldn't kill me, and you want to kill me? The attack was devoured. There really is something fishy in his head. Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed as he stared closely at demon god Long Yu's head. Soon, the appraisal eye penetrated deep inside and found out what was going on. Chapter 852. High-quality divine artifact. Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed. He did not expect a high-quality divine artifact, it was beyond his expectations. Because he did not use it before, the appraisal eye did not detect it. Only after using it did he realize that he had a high-quality divine artifact protecting him. No wonder Long Yu demon god was so calm. Just a high-quality divine artifact was enough to calm him down. If he kept attacking without being able to injure him, it would constantly replenish his energy, which would instead help him cultivate. Looks like it's because of this thing that heaven-creating Divine King and the others are unable to kill him. Yi Tianyun immediately understood. Even if he kept devouring energy, with the protection of the high-quality divine artifact, it would be very difficult for him to invade the high-quality divine artifact. This guy's compromise was indeed an act. Even if his body was devoured, he was still fine. However, if he kept devouring, his strength would definitely be greatly reduced. This was not a scene that Long Yu demon god wanted to see. What's wrong? Continue hacking. If you have the ability, continue hacking. Idiot, trash. Long Yu demon god sneered, with your strength, you want to kill me? Where's that confidence from before? Show me what you've got. He began to mock Yi Tianyun and provoke him. In fact, he was provoking Yi Tianyun to continue attacking him. However, even if he kept hacking him, he would at most recover some energy and would not cause any harm to Yi Tianyun. Of course, after recovering his body, he would not be able to leave this suppression. His body was no longer on the huge nail, but it was more of his soul power that was nailed down. The huge array was pressing down on him. If he could escape with broken arms and legs, he would have abandoned his body and run away. This treasure again. This treasure can devour Master's attacks. Even if the three divine kings joined forces, they would still be devoured. The heavenly rock suppression tablet appeared beside Yi Tianyun and stared at the treasure cautiously. If you continue attacking, you will keep devouring energy to increase your strength. Therefore, Master can only seal him until your cultivation reaches a very high level before you can break through this treasure's protection. Long Yu demon god's true immortality was not because his healing ability was too strong, nor was it because his physique was too strong. It was because he had a high-grade divine artifact. This high-grade divine artifact was no ordinary high-grade divine artifact. Tianyun could sense that its effect was stronger than that of the ancient underworld divine tower. Although they were all high-grade divine artifacts, there were differences in strength. It was obvious that the upper-grade divine equipment created by the evil spirit race would be even more powerful. This could be seen from the heaven-devouring divine treasure. A middle-grade divine artifact's effect was comparable to a high-grade divine artifact. If it were them, they wouldn't be able to forge it. It's fine. Let me see how strong an attack this thing can withstand, Tianyun said calmly. The heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet wanted to say something, but when it saw Tianyun's firm gaze, it obediently shut its mouth. Tianyun tightly gripped evil spirit divine's sword and flew in front of Long Yu demon god, looking straight into Long Yu demon god's mocking eyes. What's wrong? If you can't cut it, then scram. Long Yu demon god sneered, his tone full of disdain. Who said I can't cut it? Tianyun waved evil spirit divine's sword and mobilized the power in his body. The accessories on his body were released to their maximum power. The overbearing desolate ancient set was stacked on top of them, and the evil dragon set on his body was released with extreme power. Then, he aimed at Long Yu demon god's head and slashed down heavily. His current combat power was almost 200 billion. This was without using the crazy damage mode, so he slashed down heavily. Boom! The terrifying power smashed down heavily, and the heavenly soul divine artifact emitted a dazzling light, blocking this overbearing power. Boom boom boom, the astonishing power smashed Long Yu demon god's head heavily against the wall. The barrier was constantly releasing power to protect Long Yu demon god's head. At the same time, it was constantly absorbing the energy of the attack. The originally overbearing sword light quickly became thin, as if it would be drained at any time. After a while, the sword finished slashing, but Long Yu demon god's head was unscathed. He couldn't even cut through the barrier. Long Yu demon god looked at the barrier in front of him in shock. He felt that the barrier had almost been smashed apart. This power was too terrifying. He didn't expect Tianyun to be able to burst out with such terrifying power. You think this kind of attack can break my defense? You are too naive. Is that all you have? Long Yu demon god sneered, but his heart was not as calm as he looked on the surface. He felt that if he continued to be strong, the barrier would not be able to withstand it and would definitely be smashed apart. At the same time, the violent attack from before was quickly swallowed by the barrier, turning into waves of energy that were provided to him, allowing him to speed up the healing of his body. If he really had such a treasure, as long as his soul was not destroyed, he would not die. Divine King stage experts were not weak. They would not die as easily as weak cultivators. As long as their soul was not destroyed, they would not die. When Tianyun killed them before, he would slash them from head to toe, especially their heads, which would definitely be cut in half. This was the only way to completely kill them and destroy their souls. Oh, this defense effect is not bad, Tianyun smiled. He just wanted to try it out a little, and he did not even use the crazy damage mode. He just used all of his equipment to attack, and found that it was indeed difficult to break through. Although he did not use the crazy damage mode, the burst of damage was definitely comparable to the 6th or 7th level Divine King stage. How could the effect be bad with such a terrifying equipment bonus? However, this damage was still not enough to break the barrier, and he still needed to increase his strength. Then what about this? Tianyun put the evil spirit divine sword horizontally, and at the same time, equipped the two titles, King of the Mortal World, and Reaper, at the same time, instantly increasing his combat power by 12 times. Boom! In an instant, his power soared into the sky, and even the heavenly rock-suppressing ancient monument trembled, and it was faintly unable to suppress this power. Tianyun's cultivation was at 2nd level Divine King stage, and his basic combat power was 50 billion. 12 times was not the limit, and he still had the Desolate Ancient set, which could provide 3 times the damage bonus, which would increase his combat power by 15 times. 750 billion combat power. 780 billion combat power. 790 billion combat power. 800 billion combat power. Finally, it stopped at 800 billion combat power. This was the ultimate effect of the combination of all of his equipment. The evil spirit divine sword in his hand was buzzing, and the light shining from it was extremely dazzling. Chapter 853. A full 800 billion battle power, reaching an unprecedented peak. In fact, Tianyun can still burst out with even stronger battle power. However, he wants to test the effect bit by bit to see what level he can burst out without relying on crazy damage mode. Then he wants to try to see if he can shatter this hard barrier with his battle power and see how strong a high-grade divine artifact can be. Boom! Boom! The entire heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet is shaking, and the artifact's spirit on the side is frightened. He has never felt such a terrifying power before. Even the three godly kings have not burst out with such terrifying power. Such powerful power. The artifact's spirit is dumbfounded. If it was the phantom, it would not have such a rich expression. Demon God Long Yu is even more exaggerated. He keeps twisting his body, trying to break free from this giant nail so that he can quickly leave this place. However, this giant nail is constantly releasing energy, and the divine runes on it are constantly flickering, nailing him to the wall. No matter how he twists, he can't break free. He already feels the fear of death. If he doesn't dodge, he will die for sure. I wonder if you can block this move. Tianyun shows a trace of a demonic smile. If you kill me, your three realms will definitely die. In the end, Demon God Long Yu still did not compromise and is still staring at him, not afraid of death. If I don't kill you, the three realms will live a life worse than death. Don't worry, when the time comes, I will kill as many people as you come. Or I will slaughter my way into your ancestral land and have a good massacre, completely annihilating your evil spirit race. Tianyun is not afraid of threats. Annihilate our ancestral land? What a joke. With your cultivation, you are not even worthy to carry our general's shoes. Demon God Long Yu laughs, I guess you won't even be able to enter the entrance of our ancestral land and will die outside. That's right, before you die, I will let you see something. Tianyun stretches out his hand, and the evil spirit puppet appears in front of Demon God Long Yu. Its huge body is exactly the same as Demon God Long Yu, without any changes. This. Demon God Long Yu's eyes widened. He had no idea what this was. Why would someone from his race be willing to follow Tianyun? At this time, Tianyun had already brandished his sword. His battle power of 800 billion pierced through the sky. When the overbearing sword light touched the shield of this divine tool, a bang sound was heard. The hard shield was immediately smashed by the sword, and then it easily chopped into Tianyun's brain. Without the protection of the barrier, demonic God Long Yu's head was as fragile as tofu, slicing through it easily. Soon, his entire head began to be damaged. When his soul came into contact with this overbearing sword light, it immediately turned into ashes. Before Fiend Celestial Long Yu could even let out a tragic cry, he was cleaved into two and was completely dead. Not only was his soul annihilated, even his body was reduced to ashes, drifting in all directions. The extremely domineering power far exceeded what Demon God Long Yu could withstand. This was especially the case when demonic God Long Yu had always been in a weak position. With his powers sealed, he was unable to unleash most of his powers. As long as the shield was broken, Demon God Long Yu would be a fish on the chopping block. Ding! Successfully killed Demon God Long Yu. Reward, 360 billion EXP, 5 million crazy point, 1 million SPs. Obtained Heavenly Soul Divine Tool, High-Grade Divine Tool, Evil Spirit Divine Sword, Evil Spirit Necklace. Evil Spirit Soul, Evil Spirit Blood, Evil Spirit Bone. Ding! Successfully completed super main quest, kill the otherworldly demon, become the savior. Reward, 100 billion EXP, 100 million crazy point, 50 million SPs, 5,000 prestige point, and obtain the title, Savior. Savior title, after equipping, commander points will increase by 100,000, only valid in the 3 realms. Commander points increased by 100,000, this is a terrifying number. This meant that his words were equivalent to authority, and no one could question his words. Whatever he said was the truth. He didn't even complete the normal main quest, but he completed the super main quest and obtained a lot of rewards. The pile of rewards was truly astounding. The number was truly shocking. When he saw the rewards before, he felt very envious. It had only been a short time since then, and he had already earned this reward. Is it over? Tianyun breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, he killed the most powerful existence, and the only thing left is to clean up all the evil spirit race in the 3 realms. Kill. Kill him. The heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet was stunned. He has been trapping demon god Longyu, worried that demon god Longyu would escape. For a long time, he has been praying for the heaven-creating divine king to come back quickly. Otherwise, after demon god Longyu escapes, the 3 realms will definitely suffer. Who knew that the successor of the heaven-creating divine king would be killed so easily, and it belongs to the category of easy instant kill. Such a sturdy protective barrier was forcefully blasted apart just like that. In fact, this situation can occur to a large extent because Tianyun drained demon god Longyu's energy. The lack of energy allowed the power of the Heavenly Soul Divine Tool to play to the maximum, resulting in a lot more fragile than usual. Under such conditions, a single sword strike is enough to crush the shield. That's right, finally killed him. Tianyun breathed a sigh of relief. This guy has always been a big worry. Now that demon god Longyu has been killed, the big worry in his heart is gone, but there are some things that he has to think about more, and that is the attack of the evil spirit race. As demon god Longyu said, if he killed him, it is very likely that the evil spirit race will sense it and will definitely speed up their attack. However, whether it is a blessing or a curse, he can only hurry to command the 3 realms, so that he can arrange all aspects to resist the upcoming war. At the same time, in an area far away from the 3 realms, on a huge spirit ship, there is a group of powerful evil spirit race. Each evil spirit race is wearing thick equipment, and there is basically no holy artifact level equipment. No matter how bad it is still a holy artifact level equipment. One of the evil spirit race is wearing a full set of divine artifacts. He looked at the fragment in his hand, his eyes full of killing intent. Demon god Longyu is dead. Not only demon god Longyu is dead, but demon god Soth is also dead. Nothing happened before, logically speaking, they should be in charge of that area. How did they die all of a sudden? General Long, it seems that they are in trouble, that small area is not as easy to attack as we thought. A subordinate next to him said. The king has already thought about it, that is why he sent us here. I did not expect that they would all die. General Long said coldly, maybe other forces joined the battle, that is why this happened. No matter what, we must get that area. Chapter 854. After Tianyun killed demon god Longyu, the heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet naturally didn't need to stay here anymore. In the end, it became his personal weapon. The heavenly rock-suppressing ancient tablet was still a very good divine tool. After all, a mid-grade divine tool wasn't a low-level one, especially one with an artifact spirit. Soon, he returned to the heavenly cloud's imperial capital. Here, he still acted according to the usual situation. No one knew that a big problem had been solved just like that. Most people didn't know that Tianyun had just solved a big problem in the 3 realms and became the savior. This was something that even the king of the heavens and the others couldn't do, and now Tianyun did it. It was really incredible. However, no one knew about this matter. There were very few people who knew about it. Yi Tianyun didn't publicize anything. It was meaningless. Many people didn't know about the existence of demon god Longyu, so it was meaningless to say it out loud. Most people would even suspect that he was bragging, and no one would believe him. Finally, there is no evil spirit race in the mortal world. Yi Tianyun breathed a sigh of relief. Previously, when he said that all the evil spirit race would be destroyed, it didn't include demon god Longyu. If it did, then the main quest couldn't be completed. Now, it could be considered to have truly been eliminated, and all of the evil spirit races had been killed. The rest was to wait and see how long it would take for the ghost world to truly destroy all the evil spirit race. However, there was one thing that went very smoothly, much smoother than the mortal world, and that was the alliance. The alliance was quite smooth, and it could basically be said that the alliance was completed. The experience points were constantly stacking up, and if it continued, he could break through to the next level. It was all thanks to the ancient underworld divine pagoda that many cultivators spread the news about Yi Tianyun's deeds to the outside world. It could be said that most people in the ghost world knew about it, especially the key kings. This was the key to forming the alliance quickly. It didn't matter if the common people didn't know about it, anyway, the alliance had nothing to do with them. After the kings knew about it, they immediately knew how to make a choice. It's almost time to go to the heaven realm to do something. The underworld and the mortal world were more or less settled. Now, all that was left was the situation of the heaven realm. However, this was not a big problem. Previously, he had helped the heaven-sealing divine kingdom destroy so many divine kingdoms. This was enough to intimidate most of the heaven realm's forces. Who would dare to mess with him? Transfer. In a flash, Yi Tianyun disappeared from where he stood. The next moment, he appeared in the Fengtian imperial capital. The teleportation god stone was indeed useful. It allowed them to easily arrive at the heaven-sealing imperial capital. When they arrived at the heaven-sealing imperial capital, everyone was busy with their own matters. His grandfather had been busy the whole time and had never stopped. His parents were also in charge of various things, and the situation in Fengtian imperial capital was becoming more and more prosperous. Without those traders, things would definitely stabilize. Moreover, with the stimulation from Yi Tianyun, those arrogant geniuses would obediently go into closed-door cultivation. They all used Yi Tianyun as a role model. Thinking back to that figure who had fought against so many divine nations, they felt as if they had been injected with chicken blood and began to cultivate. Yi Tianyun's figure flashed, and he appeared outside the main hall's study. He knocked lightly on the door. Inside, the busy Yi Yuanlong raised his head. When he saw that it was Yi Tianyun, he put down the work in his hands and exclaimed in surprise, "Tianyun, you're back?" "Grandfather, I'm back." Yi Tianyun smiled as he walked in. "But this time, I came back because I have something to discuss with you." Yi Yuanlong's eyes flashed, and he said in a low voice, "Is it about the alliance?" "Looks like grandfather has asked around." Yi Tianyun smiled. It was not surprising that Yi Yuanlong knew about it. "I just asked around a little." Yi Yuanlong was a little embarrassed. He clearly did not deliberately want to know about the mortal world. What was there to know about the mortal world? They just wanted to know about Yi Tianyun's situation. Who would have thought that there would be such a big movement in the mortal world? Yi Tianyun was about to unify the mortal world. This matter really shocked them. Unifying the mortal world was a very difficult task, but it did not seem to be a big problem. "But this time, I came here to form an alliance. In the heavenly realm, our Fengtian divine nation will be the alliance leader, and then we will form an alliance with the other divine nations." Yi Tianyun took out the storage ring and placed it on the table. This is the evil spirit necklace. It can easily detect their existence. Although there are 10 stars watching here, not every place can be watched. Therefore, we must spread this information and completely eliminate the evil spirit race in the heavenly realm. Yi Tianyun's eyes were filled with killing intent. He would definitely not leave a single one alive. No matter if it was big or small, he would not have the slightest bit of mercy. Sometimes, it was necessary to be a little more ruthless. Once he relaxed, or when his compassion overflowed, the one who would die would only be himself. I took a bit of this thing. It is indeed very effective. Yuanlong took the necklace and said in a deep voice, although our Fengtian divine nation has some prestige, it is still a bit difficult to make all the divine nations regard us as the alliance leader. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Tianyun smiled and said, the demon suppressed by the ancestor was killed by me. What? Yuanlong's hand trembled and directly crushed the jade cup in his hand. Don't worry about it. In short, you can go and form an alliance. You can start now. If you don't form an alliance and the evil spirit race attacks, you will definitely be in a passive state. Tianyun said with a smile, as for not cooperating, they will soon know what to choose. After Yuanlong calmed his heart, he immediately stood up and said, all right, I will immediately go and arrange it. In his heart, other than shock, he was still shocked. If Tianyun could kill the demon, it meant that he had already broken through to the God King stage. With a God King here, who would dare to refuse? Very quickly, after Yuanlong left, he announced this matter and immediately sent out diplomatic envoys to promote the alliance. Some felt that it was unlikely for the Fengtian divine nation to become the alliance leader, but they still braced themselves and went, hoping that they would not be chased out. What? You want us to join an alliance, and this alliance needs to be led by the Fengtian divine nation? If there is anything, we have to listen to the Fengtian divine nation's instructions? That's right, the king said so. Seeing their serious expressions, the divine envoy could not help but wipe his cold sweat. Impossible. If the Fengtian divine nation's situation was the same as a long time ago, we could still listen to them. Compared to the past, their current strength is too weak. Boom. At this time, they felt the earth tremble, which gave them a big fright. They all walked out of the palace to look outside. Following that, they saw the sky start to change color, and the 10 stars released extremely dazzling light. It was as if they had activated their power to the extreme. Chapter 855. The power of the 10 stars flickered crazily, and lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, spreading rapidly in all directions, covering a large area. The original daytime situation instantly became nighttime. Thick lightning constantly twisted in the sky, as if it would strike down at any time. Seeing this, many of the monarchs who opposed the alliance felt a sense of fear in their hearts. They had never felt such a terrible pressure before. After all, their cultivation was at the Saint King stage, and ordinary pressure could not make them feel fear. But this time, they felt an incomparable sense of fear, as if they could be completely burned to ashes by a lightning strike. I am the second elder of Fengtian Divine Kingdom. In the heaven realm, demons run rampant, and they are the evil spirit race. I believe that your ancestors will have records that the evil spirit race caused countless deaths and injuries in the 3 realms. Now the evil spirit race is hiding in the dark of the heaven realm, and we do not know when they will rush out and devour us. But one thing is clear, and that is that a disaster is coming. Therefore, we must form a huge alliance, with our Fengtian Divine Kingdom as the leader. We do not want to control all the forces and become the king of the heaven realm, but we want to put aside our prejudices and support each other. As for why the Fengtian Divine Kingdom should be the leader, the reason is very simple, that is, I am here. As soon as he finished speaking, the light of the 10 stars seemed to reach a critical point, and then a terrifying beam of light fell fiercely, accompanied by a boom sound. The whole heaven realm shook. The white light that penetrated down was like a dazzling sun, and the sky that was originally covered with dark clouds immediately became as bright as day. It was so dazzling that everyone could not open their eyes. They could only feel the crazy vibration coming from under their feet, as if the heaven realm was about to collapse. After a while, a huge deep pit appeared where the beam of light penetrated. Looking from above, it was unfathomable, like a bottomless pit. Most of the monarchs of the Divine Kingdom felt the power of this attack. They did not need to fly to the place where the attack was to know how powerful the attack was. It was definitely enough to destroy an imperial capital. This meant that if the Fengtian Divine Kingdom did not like anyone, they would attack the imperial capital. At that time, the imperial capital would disappear from the world before they could react. This was strength, this was deterrence. Soon, the dark clouds disappeared, and the sky returned to its original state, as if nothing had happened. Many of the king's hands trembled. They turned around and wiped off their cold sweat. Then, they said to the oracle, what kind of agreement do we need to sign? This is a very ordinary alliance agreement. It won't take up the resources of your country. It's just that when necessary, you can gather together and unite with each other. The oracle also wiped his cold sweat, but he was extremely shocked in his heart. No wonder the patriarch announced for them to form an alliance. At first, he thought that he would be chased out, and in the end, he was indeed chased out. However, in less than a short while, a huge reversal occurred. Many who insisted on not joining now chose to join. This immediately made many god envoys feel proud and elated. They all knew that it was the second elder, but they didn't expect him to be so domineering. Most of the monarchs were deeply shocked, and they had no choice but to join. Yi Tianyun, who was on the 10 stars, was observing the situation around him. At the same time, he was constantly receiving information. Successfully formed an alliance with Myriad Beast Divine Kingdom, gaining 18 billion EXP, 500. 000 Crazy Point, 500. 000 Proficiency. Ding, successfully formed an alliance with the Imperial Wind God Nation, gained experience. Ding, after Yi Tianyun showed his power, all the Divine Kingdoms compromised, let alone the empires. Even the Divine Kingdoms compromised, how can the empires not compromise? Soon, Yi Tianyun was very satisfied with the experience he gained. It's useless to talk about principles, the key is still strength. Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed. He already knew this a long time ago. If he isn't strong enough, no one will obey him. It's useless to talk about the evil spirit race. Most people are too lazy to care about it, or they just go their own way. As for regarding Fengtian Divine Kingdom as the leader of the alliance, it's impossible. Without strength, how can they be the leader of the alliance? Yi Tianyun was well aware of this, so he immediately unleashed a devastating attack to shock everyone. Not only the Divine Kingdoms outside, but even the Fengtian Divine Kingdom was shocked. This power is too strong, it's many times stronger than when Yi Tianyun used it before, it's not even on the same level as before. Immediately after Yi Tianyun returned to the palace, Yi Yuanlong immediately greeted him and said excitedly, "They will soon join us, and this is all thanks to you." "Grandpa, I told you I have a way, right?" Yi Tianyun smiled knowingly. His mother was also present, and they all gathered together, feeling very excited. But will the evil spirit race really attack soon? Yi Yuanlong asked. "Yes, it won't be too long," Yi Tianyun said solemnly. Their expressions are dignified, and their hearts are filled with emotion. Yi Tianyun is shouldering such a heavy responsibility. With such a strong force, it's nothing more than to reduce the number of people dying, and this sense of responsibility is something that many people can only look up to. "Child, thank you for your hard work, it's okay, I'm just doing what I can." Yi Tianyun grinned, he doesn't care what others say about him, he doesn't care if they call him a tyrant, as long as he can reduce the number of people dying in the war, he will be happy. He can't take care of everyone, so he must unite so that they can help each other. Then in the remaining time, the Divine Kingdoms quickly formed an alliance, and at the same time, the necklace continued to be distributed, and the overall situation was good. Many of them were dissatisfied, but in the end, they had no choice but to join. Anyway, Yi Tianyun doesn't care what they think, as long as they join, it's fine. Ding, main quest completed, unify the ghost world, eradicate all the evil spirit race in the ghost world. Reward, 60 billion EXP, 6 million crazy point, 800,000 SPs. And a new title, King of the Ghost World. King of the Ghost World, damage increased by 10 times in the Ghost World. Ding, main quest completed, unify the heaven world, eradicate all the evil spirit race in the heaven world. Reward, 60 billion EXP, 6 million crazy point, 800,000 SPs. And a new title, King of the Heaven World. Chapter 856. Have we finally eliminated all the evil spirit race S in the underworld? Tianyun sighed with emotion. If only the heaven realm was as efficient as the underworld, they could easily eliminate them. However, from the looks of the current situation, the progress would not be very smooth, and the speed would be slightly slower. Since the heaven realm did not have any evil spirit race S, the overall situation was in a relatively stable state. Without a sense of danger, it would be difficult for them to unite. They would all be fighting against each other, so how could they unite against the outside world? The ancient underworld divine pagoda in the underworld was able to give them a huge impact, which was why they were so fast. What could the heaven realm have? It was because the heaven-sealing divine nations had protected them too well that they had a very poor sense of danger towards the evil spirit race. They thought that there was no such thing, and even thought that they would not attack again. Some were even arrogant enough to think that so what if the evil spirit race came, they could just kick them out. The integration of the heaven realm was basically left to them to handle. Tianyun was staying here to oversee the situation. Right now, he was waiting to complete the main quest before leaving. Right now, there was only the heaven realm left. After completing the last main quest, it could be considered as officially over. Very quickly, things progressed at a moderate pace. Most of them chose to compromise, while a small number chose not to join. This was within expectations. Even in the face of tyrannical power, there were still people who did not choose to join. They just wanted to be the center and did not want to join any faction. This time, Tianyun didn't use force, he only needed to use force in the Divine Kingdom. If it didn't work, he would use temptation. Tianyun's plan was very simple. Good martial arts could be given out as an example. Only then did the other divine nations agree to join. Since the heaven-sealing divine nations was so sincere, how could they not do something? As long as the divine nations joined in, the rest did not matter. In any case, their lives and deaths would have nothing to do with him. If he had the ability to protect himself, then he would protect himself. At that time, even if he knelt down and begged him, it would be useless. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. The work on the alliance had already been completed, and it was all going well. There are still a few that are difficult to take down. One of them is the most difficult to take down. It's a completely hard bone. Yuanlong unfurled the map. The detailed territories were marked on it, including which god nation was in which region. Which one is the hardest to take down? Tianyun, who was at the side, stood up. For the past month, he hadn't been idle. He was either concocting pills or forging weapons. He would never let himself be idle. Taking advantage of the time, he could train his other skills and increase his proficiency. He also wanted to upgrade his mastery of alchemy to the level of a creator. Although he now had a large number of proficiency points and could really level up one of his mastery skills in one go, he was not in a hurry at the moment. Everything depended on the situation. Dragon Clan. Yuanlong shook his head and said, for a long time, the most overbearing power in the heaven realm was the Dragon Clan. It occupies a vast area, and cultivators are not allowed to enter at will. Anyone who tries to barge in will be killed without mercy. If it weren't for the fact that they were emissaries, they would have been killed. The Dragon Clan is extremely resistant to this kind of alliance. They feel that they don't want to form an alliance with us and want to be independent. Yuanlong and the others felt very helpless. They could understand why the Dragon Clan was so resistant. It was because too many people coveted the Dragon Clan's bloodline. This was the same as the Phoenix clan in the Netherworld. At the beginning, they were also very wary of Tianyun and did not like humans at all. Too many people coveted their blood essence. How could they not be disgusted? After all, they were divine beasts. The bloodline power they contained was so strong. After absorbing it, many cultivators would be greatly enhanced. As expected, the dragon clan is more difficult to take down. Tianyun narrowed his eyes and said, after all, the dragon clan is also a foreign race. Back then, when many experts joined forces, the dragon clan contributed a lot. Yes, according to the records, the dragon clan has an extremely good relationship with our Fengtian divine kingdom. After the war, we gradually lost contact. If the emissaries we sent were not from our Fengtian divine kingdom, they would have been killed. Yuanlong shook his head. The dragon clan is very strong. Even if they don't ally with us, they still have the power to protect themselves. This is understandable. If there is a war, they will also fight with no regard for their own safety. Tianyun poured tea for them. His expression was indifferent, as if he had already expected this. Looks like we can only let them be. This time, there is no way we can ally with them. Yuanlong picked up his teacup and took a sip. He felt a little helpless. Later, I will personally go to the dragon clan. Tianyun also picked up his teacup and took a sip. Pfft, Yuanlong spat out the tea in his mouth. He looked at him in shock and said, there is no need to be so exaggerated. In any case, the dragon clan has allied with us before. Even if we don't ally with them, there is no need to destroy them, right? Grandfather, do you think I am so cruel that I will choose to destroy them if they don't join our side? Tianyun laughed. This. Yuanlong was a little embarrassed. Tianyun had always used simple and violent methods to suppress enemies who disobeyed him. If the dragon clan didn't join them, he really thought that Tianyun would personally go to suppress the dragon clan and beat them until they were afraid. It's fine. I am just going to the dragon clan to take a look. It seems that the dragon clan is in danger, or has declined greatly. That is why they chose not to join us. Tianyun guessed. Is that so? That is not very possible. The dragon clan has always been very powerful. Even if they are not ranked in the God Nation rankings, their overall strength is definitely one of the best. If they are in danger, they should be asking us for help. Yuanlong frowned. That is the problem. You said that our Fengtian divine nation has always had a good relationship with them. Even if they don't join us, we should not chase them away. Tianyun laughed lightly. I boldly guessed that the dragon clan is in danger now, and is not as strong as they seem on the surface. The reason they did not join us was mainly because they could not send anyone to help, and did not want to expose their own problems. Although the Fengtian divine nation had a good relationship in the past, who can be sure of the current situation? If their secrets were to be exposed, they might be exterminated. Grandfather, it is not like you don't know that although we are fighting against the evil spirit race together, there is no lack of disloyal existences. They do not care about the evil spirit race, they only want to become stronger. Chapter 857. After thinking about it, Tianyun immediately prepared to go to the dragon race to see what was going on with the dragon race. They must have their own difficulties to choose to stay in seclusion. It was very likely that they had encountered some danger, or there were some internal problems. According to the memory left by the King of the Heavens also emphasized that the dragon race was the firmest ally and must join forces with the dragon race to fight against the evil spirit race. This proved that the King of the Heavens must have taken care of the dragon race before he left. It was impossible for the dragon race to not care about the past. Divine beasts had always been loyal and would never have any thoughts of betrayal. Now that such a big problem had appeared, there must be something wrong. Therefore, after Tianyun heard the news, he decided to go there personally to see what was going on. After settling the matters, Tianyun immediately went to the dragon race's territory, the Dragon Continent. The Dragon Continent's territory was quite vast and occupied one of the best places in the heavenly realm. It could be said that there were many treasures in the world. Therefore, many people secretly went to the Dragon Continent to look for elixirs. However, if they were discovered by the dragon race, the result would be death. It could be said that those who trespassed would be killed without mercy. They would not be given a chance to leave. After all, they had already warned the public not to trespass into the dragon race's territory. Anyone who trespassed would be dead. If they wanted to trade something, they should come in through the main entrance instead of sneaking in. If it was a simple trade, the dragon race would not reject it. So this is the Dragon Continent. It looks pretty good. Soon, Tianyun arrived near the Dragon Continent. Instead of calling it a continent, it would be better to call it a relatively large island. It was surrounded by seawater, forming a large circle around the entire continent. It was unknown whether it was man-made or natural. In any case, the area was indeed vast, but it was not as vast as the other continents. It could even be said to be relatively small. However, the dragon race liked to live here. After all, the residents did not need to be very vast. The main point was that the spiritual energy was rich enough and there were enough treasures in the world. In particular, the number of dragons was the same as the number of phoenixes. There had never been a lot of them. However, it was impossible for there to be only a few hundred or 1,000 people. But compared to the other races, their numbers were much smaller. There were at most hundreds of thousands of them, and they all lived in the Dragon Continent. Tianyun's gaze swept across the area, immediately taking in the entire area. At the entrance, there are several dragon race experts guarding this place, looking around vigilantly. Their cultivations are not low, all of them are at the void spirit stage. As expected of the dragon clan, even the outermost guards had such astonishing cultivation. However, he would have to go in and take a look to see if the interior was as glorious. Shortly after, Tianyun flew down. Just as he neared, the guard immediately became alert. He stared straight at him and said solemnly, "Who are you? What business do you have with the dragon clan?" They all took out their spears and pointed them at Tianyun. If they felt that something was wrong, they would kill him immediately. "I want to pay a visit to the Dragon King. I have something important to tell you," Tianyun said bluntly. No. Now refuse to see anyone. Leave quickly, otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. The guard didn't even bother to listen to what Tianyun wanted to say and directly drove him away. Tianyun squinted his eyes and looked at them. They didn't ask anything and just drove him away. It seems that there is a big problem here. Immediately after, he didn't continue to stay, turned around, and flew outside. After watching him leave, the guard gradually relaxed his vigilance. Tianyun didn't leave. He just made a turn, concealed his figure, and slipped inside. He didn't need to be invisible or teleported. He just needed to hide his aura. As long as he didn't want to be discovered, no one would be able to discover him. Unless there was an extremely powerful god king here, it was absolutely impossible for them to discover his existence. After sneaking in, he quickly walked inside. Immediately, his spiritual sense covered a large area, and he had a clear view of the surrounding situation. In the vicinity, there were many Dragon Clan guards patrolling around to prevent foreign enemies from invading. However, the forest here was also engraved with many divine runes. At a glance, Tianyun knew that it was the work of the heaven-creating Divine King. Obviously, the heaven-creating Divine King had a good relationship with the Dragon Clan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have helped to engrave the divine rune formation. Since he was very familiar with the place, sneaking in was like returning home, and he got in easily. As he continued to go deeper, the situation inside gradually came into view. There were small villages everywhere on this dragon continent, covering most of the areas. There was a village in basically every corner. In the villages, there were many Dragon Clan living. They didn't gather in one place, but scattered in various areas, so that it was easier to manage the whole continent. Among them, Dragon City was in the central area, and there was a huge dragon coiled in the center, but it wasn't a real dragon, but a statue. This was just like the previous coiling dragon cave, there was a huge dragon coiled there. But here, it was even bigger, and it also contained domineering dragon power. The dragon clan that came bowed their heads and walked in respectfully, not daring to be the slightest bit rude. It's quite prosperous here. After Yi Tianyun went deep into Dragon City, the situation here didn't decline as he had imagined. The overall situation was still good. However, compared to the top divine nations, it was still a little worse. The main reason was that these dragon clan didn't have much spiritual chi, as if their strength had been drained. They generally looked lifeless. Strange, it seems that the loss of spiritual chi is very serious. Yi Tianyun glanced at them and felt that they were quite strange. With the appraisal eye, he could clearly detect that their power had been drained. They were all sitting on the side and resting, which was quite strange. It would be fine if there were only one or two of them, but most of them were in such an environment, as if they had released all their power, and then rested on the side to recover their spiritual chi. Immediately, his figure flashed, and he rushed to the dragon hall in front of him. His figure flickered, and he smoothly moved into the dragon hall. As soon as he entered, he immediately felt a chaotic energy raging in the palace, as if it would erupt at any time. Yi Tianyun scanned with his spiritual sense and immediately knew what was happening inside. So this is what happened. Chapter 858. Yi Tianyun walked in step by step. After passing through the passageway, he saw a group of dragon race experts, all of them releasing their tyrannical dragon power, continuously channeling it into the formation in front of them. As their dragon power poured in, the formation in front of them continuously emitted a dazzling light. The youth in the middle of the formation continuously absorbed the dragon power. At the same time, he was frantically suppressing the black energy that was constantly emerging. At the side, there was a handsome middle-aged man who was constantly controlling the surrounding dragon power to help suppress this power. However, the more he suppressed it, the more arrogant the black energy seemed to become, and it even became bigger and bigger. Ha ha ha, it's useless. This body will definitely become mine. Stop struggling, the more energy you send in, the stronger I will become. The black mist that surged out laughed continuously, Dragon King, either you kill your son, or your son's body will definitely be possessed by me. You demon, how can I let you succeed? The Dragon King said coldly, I didn't expect you to hide it so deeply. If I hadn't discovered that something was wrong, you would have really succeeded. So what if you know? It's already too late. The black mist laughed loudly, I have already become one with your son. Dying together with your son is also a good choice. The evil spirit race had the power to possess, but not just any body could be possessed. It just so happened to be in line with his own energy, and the other party could not be too strong. Only by slowly seeping in could he complete the possession. It wasn't as if they would be able to occupy his body immediately. That wasn't possible. The Dragon King's face was solemn. How could he give up on his son? The dragon mother looked at her son with tears in her eyes. She bit her lips and shouted, You damned demon, hurry up and come out of my child's body. Do you think that's possible? What a perfect plan it was. Just obediently let me take over your son's body. At that time, I can become the Dragon King. Unfortunately, I was still discovered by you. The evil spirit race felt a little unwilling. Now that he had been caught, he did not think that he would be able to escape. With so many experts surrounding him, it was impossible for him to escape. Therefore, he might as well start cursing here. Being able to perish together with Long Zi was the best outcome. Imperial Father, Imperial Mother. Kill me, I don't want these trash to take over my body. Young Master Long gritted his teeth. He did not want to be controlled. He would rather die than have his body taken over by the evil spirit race. At that time, even his last consciousness would be gone. That won't happen. This king will get rid of this trash. The Dragon King's eyes flickered with a golden light as he continued to control the formation's energy to continuously attack the evil spirit race, wanting to pull the evil spirit race out. The dragons around them kept releasing energy into the formation, providing the Dragon King with powerful energy. It was this situation that caused so many dragons to run out of energy. No wonder the guards didn't let anyone in. This was a critical moment. Why would the Dragon King want to see anyone? Just as Yi Tianyun had guessed, the Dragon Clan was in a very serious situation, so they wouldn't receive anyone. It wasn't that he had declined, but the fact that his son was almost possessed was already a very serious matter. It was even possible that other than his son, the other dragons had also been infiltrated by the evil spirit race. As the Dragon King continued to push in, trying to pull the evil spirit race's soul out, young Master Long's face became more and more ugly. This was the feeling of his soul being torn apart. How could he feel good? A little more. This way, both of our souls will be completely torn apart. At that time, even if your son survives, he will become a fool. The evil spirit race laughed, not afraid of death at all. If he was afraid of death, he wouldn't have attacked the three realms. The Dragon King's face became ugly. He was a dignified god king, but he couldn't even save his own son. He was really too useless. The Dragon King's cultivation was not low. He had reached the second level of the God King stage. In the Heaven Realm, there was no God King stage powerhouse, so the Dragon King was a God King. With a God King like him, it was equivalent to having the strongest divine kingdom. Originally, he thought that there was no God King in the Heaven Realm, but the Dragon Clan had a God King. Sure enough, their foundation was amazing, enough to do whatever they wanted in the Heaven Realm. However, the Dragon Clan did not have the ambition to conquer the world, so they had been staying here obediently, which surprised Yi Tianyun. If it was any other God King, they would have already ruled over half of the forces. The Dragon Clan stayed here obediently, but who knew that the evil spirit race would take advantage of them? Don't worry, I can help you get rid of the evil spirit race that possessed your son. At this time, Yi Tianyun walked in from outside. Who? In an instant, everyone's eyes were focused on Yi Tianyun, and their vigilance was immediately raised to the maximum. They did not expect that a human would sneak in unknowingly. Immediately, the guards at the side quickly intercepted, took out their weapons without hesitation, and attacked Yi Tianyun. No matter why they came in, as long as it was not their own people, they had the responsibility to kill the intruder. Especially at this critical juncture, who knew if it was a helper? Stop! The Dragon King stretched out his hand, signaling for them to stop. The guards immediately stopped attacking, and the spear in their hands was almost stabbed into Yi Tianyun's body. However, Yi Tianyun's expression was indifferent, completely not worried that the spear would stab him. What did you just say? You can get rid of him. Why should I believe you? The Dragon King stared at him coldly, and he had to say that this sentence made him a little tempted. Although it may be fake, what if it is true? Just because of this. Yi Tianyun stretched out his hand, and the power of the heaven-creating Divine King was released. After a little sensing, the Dragon King's eyes narrowed. Put down your weapons, don't be nervous, it's one of us. The Dragon King waved his hand, motioning the guards to retreat to the side. The heaven-creating Divine King and the others are one of their own, so the hostility of the Dragon King will definitely be reduced. The guards were a little confused, they felt this power, but they did not know what it was. However, those powerful high-level people knew what kind of power it was, that is, the power of the heaven-creating Divine King. The heaven-creating Divine King left the divine runes here, so they are naturally very familiar with this power. As soon as they felt it, they immediately knew who the person who came was. This is their absolute partner, how could he be an enemy? Lord Dragon King, I'm really sorry, I came in this way. Yi Tianyun said apologetically. The outside really didn't let me come in, so I came in this way. the successor of the heaven-creating divine king, may I know why you are here this time? The Dragon King asked doubtfully. I believe now is not the time to discuss this matter, right? Tianyun glanced at the Dragon King on the other side. Let's solve this matter first, then discuss it properly, how about it? Chapter 859. When the Dragon King and the others learned that Tianyun was the successor of the heaven-creating divine king, their attitude immediately changed a lot, proving that they were still very friendly to the heaven-creating divine king, and they wouldn't become cold because of the passage of time. Tianyun nodded and lifted his foot to walk into the great array. The Dragon King hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Don't rush in, the great array here can't be entered at will." The others were anxious and wanted Tianyun not to rush in, at least wait until they withdrew their spiritual power. If he came in casually, he may be attacked by the great array. Tianyun didn't stop walking, he took a step forward and easily entered the great array. He just happened to walk in the area that was not affected by the great array, and step by step, he walked towards the center of the great array. Everyone was dumbfounded. He had just shown his strength, but he had already shown such an amazing performance. When the Dragon King saw Tianyun's performance, the hope in his heart increased a little. If he couldn't even deal with this, how could he convince the others? Tianyun walked step by step to the front of the Dragon King, the soul floating above his head swayed, and at the same time let out a mocking laugh. "Oh, there is a helper. No matter what comes, it's the same. It's impossible to pull me out from inside. The soul of the evil spirit race is quite strong, at least at the Saint King stage." Tianyun was not in a hurry to attack, but instead, he asked Tianyun, "How did you get in here?" "Hee. Why should I tell you this?" The evil spirit race sneered. "I guess it should be a few years ago, when went out to train, he fainted in the heavenly abyss forest. When we found nothing had happened, but the guards were all dead. No one suspected anything at that time, but I didn't expect that the evil spirit race must have knocked out, and then took the opportunity to sneak in." The Dragon King guessed. He roughly knew where the problem was, except for that time, he really couldn't think of any way to sneak in. He has been sitting here all the time, so he is very clear about who sneaks in, so it is impossible for the evil spirit race to deceive him. Unless it was outside, he would keep an eye on it. This time, Tianyun had snuck in because his cultivation was much higher than the Dragon King's, so he would not be discovered. So that's how it is. It seems like there might be a hiding spot for the evil spirit race in the heavenly abyss forest. Tianyun sneered, "Very good, I never thought that I would be able to obtain such information here." The evil spirit race's soul swayed a few times, but he laughed loudly. "Idiot, do you think we will hide in the heavenly abyss forest? If you think it's there, go ahead and look for it. Don't worry, we will look for it." Tianyun said indifferently, "Not only the heavenly abyss forest, the entire heavenly realm will be overturned and all of you trash will be eradicated." "Ha ha ha, what a joke. With just you." The evil spirit race was extremely disdainful towards Tianyun, and did not think that Tianyun had the ability to do so. Demon God Longyu, Demon God Suate, Demon God Suagu and the others were all killed by me. How many people do you think are stronger than them in the three realms? Tianyun said indifferently. "No, impossible." Evil spirit race suddenly screamed. Of course he knew these names, and he knew them very well. These were all experts, how could he not know them? Nothing is impossible. When you go to hell, you will know when you meet them. Tianyun extended his hand and grabbed at the air, grabbing the evil spirit race's soul. Following that, he began to forcefully pull away the soul, wanting to forcefully extract the evil spirit race's soul. However, when he was pulling, young Master Long also cried out in pain. Their souls were connected, so when he was pulled, he definitely felt extreme pain. When the dragon mother saw her child in such pain, she wanted to go up and stop him. This was a rather dangerous action, and if they were not careful, their child would become an idiot. The Dragon King stretched out his hand to stop the Dragon Mother, not letting her go over. Wait for him to come, this is the only way, we have no other way. Although they had only met once, they could only trust Yi Tianyun now. After all, they had no other choice but to trust him. In any case, if they were to do it, the result would be the same. If even Yi Tianyun failed, it could only be said that this was the will of the heavens. Ha, it's useless. Isn't this no different from them? In the end, we will perish together, idiot. The evil spirit race screamed in pain, but he still shouted out words of disdain. From his point of view, perishing together was already a good thing, so he was not afraid of dying. Don't worry, I'm not as stupid as you. The evil spirit divine sword suddenly appeared in Yi Tianyun's hand, and then fiercely slashed at the soul that was being pulled. When the Dragon King and the others saw this scene, their hearts jumped to their throats. Using a weapon to cut a soul was no different from killing someone. However, just like that, the evil spirit divine sword released a black light and entered the soul. Following that, he easily separated the evil spirit race's soul and squeezed it into a black ball that floated in the air. As for young Master Long's soul, it was completely fine. Even if there was a problem, it would at most be a little scratch. After a few days of recuperation, there would be no problem. What about this time? Yi Tianyun raised his hand and locked onto the evil spirit race's soul in his hand, his gaze ice cold. No, impossible. How can you cut open a soul? The evil spirit race roared in disbelief. He had originally wanted to perish together, but now, his soul had been perfectly cut open. There are many things that you don't know. Yi Tianyun turned around and looked at the Dragon King with a smile. This is the murderer who harmed your son, I'll leave it to you to deal with. As he spoke, he flicked his hand, and the ball of soul floated over and landed in front of the Dragon King. At this moment, the Great Array also disappeared. They all saw that Yi Tianyun had successfully separated his soul, and the Great Array was definitely going to stop. This time, everyone was stunned. They were also deeply shocked. They did not know how Yi Tianyun did it. They had all tried to cut out a soul, but the moment they touched it, they would injure young Master Long's soul. How could they cut it out? Yi Tianyun's sword, on the other hand, easily separated it. It could be said to be the work of the gods. All of this was the credit of the evil spirit divine sword. The evil spirit divine sword was a divine weapon that affected the soul, and it had its own unique ability. Among them, cutting the soul into two was not a problem. Chapter 860. Thank you very much. The Dragon King didn't say too many words of gratitude. After receiving the soul, he thanked Yi Tianyun in a grateful tone. The Dragon King wouldn't just thank him like that. He would definitely reward Yi Tianyun later. This is the soul that almost killed his son. Yi Tianyun must have given this soul to him, which is equivalent to giving him a huge favor. Young Master Long fainted on the ground after his soul was separated. The torture he had been through all this time had made him extremely tired. When Dragon Mother saw this, she immediately ran over and picked up her son. He's fine. He's just a little exhausted. He'll be fine after a little rest. Yi Tianyun said. Thank you. Thank you. The Dragon Mother was very grateful. Then, she brought her son to his room to rest. The Dragon King kept the evil soul and looked at Yi Tianyun. Friend, can you take a rest first? There's no hurry. I'll help the Dragon King solve some problems first. The necklace in Yi Tianyun's hand was still flickering with red light, which meant that there was more than one evil soul hidden in the dragon's body. What's the matter? The Dragon King asked doubtfully. His face immediately darkened. Could it be, that's right. I wonder if the Dragon King can trust me and let me solve it. Yi Tianyun asked. No problem. Just do it. The Dragon King didn't have any objections. His son had just been saved, which was more useful than anything else. It could be said that Yi Tianyun's current status was much more important than the heaven-creating divine king's descendant or the king of the heavens' descendant. The Dragon King would at most give some face to the heaven-creating divine king's descendant, but he definitely wouldn't trust him. Now that his son had been saved, how could he not trust him? Immediately, Yi Tianyun's figure flashed and grabbed one of the elders. The elder was immediately shocked. "You! What are you doing? There's an evil soul hidden in your body. I'll help you separate it." Then, Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed, and a black light shot out from his eyes. A surging power flowed from his hand into the elder's head. Immediately, a scream was heard. A pitch-black soul rushed out from inside, screaming in pain. How did you find out I was inside?" The evil spirit race screamed miserably. His soul was relatively weak, so logically speaking, he should not have been able to detect it. When everyone saw this, their faces changed. They thought that only young Master Long would be possessed. They didn't expect that even the elder would be possessed. All of a sudden, everyone's hearts trembled. Could it be that there were others who had been possessed? You don't need to know that. Yi Tianyun brandished the evil spirit divine sword and slashed down, completely killing the soul of the evil spirit race. He would not keep it like before and let the Dragon King vent his anger. After that, he continued to rush to the side, grabbing one of them and pulling out that soul. The evil spirit divine sword swiftly slashed down, and without a single word, the soul was easily killed. Following which, he continued to rush to other places. He caught one and forced out its soul, easily killing it. The Dragon King, who was following closely behind, was shocked. He did not expect so many people to be possessed, and they were completely unaware. It's about time, it's basically gone. As for the other corners, I'm not sure. At least in the main city of the Dragon City, there isn't a single evil spirit race. Yi Tianyun looked at the Dragon King and said in a deep voice, "Why are there so many people possessing you? It seems that your dragon race's physique is very suitable for being possessed by the evil spirit race. If we don't discover it in time, I'm afraid there will be endless troubles in the future." This king also did not expect such a situation to occur. They hid themselves too deeply, and I was unable to sense them carefully. "May I know how you managed to find out?" the Dragon King asked. "It's because of this necklace. As long as it emits a red light, it means that the evil spirit race is attached to it." Yi Tianyun handed the necklace to the Dragon King and said, "I've heard of this necklace before, but I didn't expect it to have such an effect." The Dragon King shook his head. "It's a good thing you're here, otherwise our dragon race would have fallen into disaster." "There's no need to thank me. Let's settle the matter first." Yi Tianyun took out a storage ring and handed it over to the Dragon King. "There are many necklaces inside, you can distribute them to your clansmen and let them deal with them. Generally speaking, as long as they discover it in time, I don't even need to do anything. They can easily deal with it." "Alright, I'll accept this. Let's deal with this matter first." The Dragon King nodded. "May I know how to address you, friend?" "I'm Yi Tianyun, also a descendant of the King of the Heavens. I'm currently the second elder of the Fengtian Divine Kingdom." Yi Tianyun announced his identity. A descendant of the King of the Heavens, the second elder of the Fengtian Divine Kingdom? The Dragon King's eyes lit up. "Could it be that you're the second elder who allowed the Fengtian Divine Kingdom to suppress most of the Divine Kingdoms?" "Yes, I am." Yi Tianyun smiled. "What a coincidence. I didn't expect you to be someone from the Fengtian Divine Kingdom." The Dragon King shook his head and said, "Our two countries have always been on good terms. When we were besieged last time, we immediately sent more people over, but by the time we came to help, you had already settled it. Because we didn't want to completely expose the relationship between our two families, we didn't say anything. At that time, I heard that the second elder of the Fengtian Divine Kingdom was very powerful. I didn't expect it to be Brother Yi. This is really amazing." The Dragon King called Yi Tianyun brother, which meant that he already regarded Yi Tianyun as an equal. This is a small matter, it's not worth mentioning. Now, it's better for the Dragon King to settle everything before we talk. Yi Tianyun smiled. Alright, then Brother Yi can go to the elegant residence to rest first. When I'm done, I'll come find you immediately. The Dragon King immediately arranged for someone to take him to the elegant residence. After Yi Tianyun followed the Dragon King to the elegant residence, he temporarily rested there while waiting for the Dragon King to deal with his matters. After he stayed here for a few days, the Dragon King finally appeared in front of Yi Tianyun. He seemed to be in a good mood. Brother Yi, this necklace is really magical. It was so easy to find the evil spirit race, and there was no mistake at all. The Dragon King felt that it was very magical. At first, he was a little worried that he might have made a mistake, but later on, he realized that there was no mistake at all. Of course, the necklace wouldn't make a mistake. Only the evil spirit race would shine, unless the cultivator swallowed the blood of the evil spirit race. If he dared to swallow the blood of the evil spirit race, how disgusting would that be? Under normal circumstances, this won't be a mistake. Yi Tianyun smiled. Chapter 861. Yes, I am here to form an alliance. Yi Tianyun said, I've always heard that our two countries have a good relationship. Logically speaking, we should form an alliance. Then, when he heard the rejection, he felt that something was wrong and came over to take a look. Who would have thought that I would discover such a thing? I never thought that the evil spirit race would take advantage of this and continue to invade the dragon race. Yes, I also did not expect this. The evil spirit race's loopholes are not small. I asked around and found that those who were possessed were all unconscious. They didn't know who attacked them. When I woke up and found that there was nothing wrong, I followed him back. The Dragon King said in a low voice, they want to infiltrate deep into our dragon clan and gradually replace us. This is truly despicable. Yi Tianyun nodded. This was exactly what he was thinking. The status of the dragon clan was extremely high. Coupled with the abundance of resources, they belonged to the superior race that devoured everything. It was impossible for the evil spirit race to let it go. It was the same reason as devouring the phoenix race. To them, it could be said to be a great supplement. How could it not seep in? Possession had too many drawbacks. If there was no value to it, no one would try it. For example, there were so many cultivators out there, but why were there so few who could possess others? The main reason was that they had no value. The value of the dragon race was extremely high, so it was not surprising that they had taken over their bodies. However, our dragon clan will definitely agree to the alliance. However, it will only be with the Fengtian Divine Kingdom. Everything else has nothing to do with us. The Dragon King was as cold as ever. He couldn't be bothered to befriend the other divine kingdoms. No problem. We're just forming an alliance. We don't have to send envoys to each other. Actually, when the evil spirit race invades, we can unite and make a plan to counterattack in time, instead of sitting still and waiting for death. Yi Tianyun said. That's not a problem. It's quite easy. The Dragon King nodded. As long as he did not interfere with the management of the dragon race, these alliances would definitely not be a problem. Yi Tianyun naturally understood the conflict in this aspect. Most forces would be conflicted, or rather, he was conflicted. They were originally in an alliance. If they sent someone to interfere with the management, it would be too exaggerated. No one would like that. This was equivalent to a stranger coming to one's house, and the stranger was constantly pointing fingers. No one would like that. All that's left is to eliminate the evil spirit race. This time, we must completely eliminate the evil spirit race. Yi Tianyun said solemnly. That's easy. I've always had a deep hatred for the evil spirit race. I've wanted to get rid of them a long time ago, but I don't know how to find them. The Dragon King nodded and said, Now that we have this necklace, it will be much easier. We can definitely make the evil spirit race unable to hide. Alright, I'll leave this area to you. I intend to make a trip to the Heavenly Abyss Forest to see if there are any survivors there. Although the evil spirit race vehemently denied that there was no such thing, since there was a problem there, I believe that even if it is not there, it must be nearby. Yi Tianyun's eyes flickered. This area just so happened to be an area that the 10 stars couldn't cover. Or rather, it could be said that this area's senses were slightly weaker. Moving around here would undoubtedly be much safer. That's exactly what I was thinking. However, there are still many things to deal with in the clan. Otherwise, I would have gone with you. The Dragon King's eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. How could he not be angry when he thought of his son and so many of his clansmen being possessed? He wished that he could find all of the evil spirit race's lair in the Heaven Realm and exterminate them all in order to quell the anger in his heart. Dragon King, leave the matters over there to me. You just have to take care of the matters in the clan. Yi Tianyun knew the Dragon King's current situation. Even though he had done a lot of things in the past few days, there were still a lot of things that he had not done. As for Brother Yi saving my son, as for the reward. Just as the Dragon King was about to speak, Yi Tianyun shook his head and interrupted him. There's no need for that. Back then, when the Three Realms was in trouble, the dragon race defended the Heaven Realm with their lives. Logically speaking, everyone owes you a favor, so there is no reward. The Dragon King being able to continue to guard the Heaven Realm is already the greatest reward. Yi Tianyun said in a deep voice. The Dragon King was startled, but immediately nodded and said, okay, then I won't say anything more. Brother Yi, if you need anything, we will do our best to help. After saying that, the purpose of Yi Tianyun coming here was basically achieved. Ding, completed side quest, rescue the Dragon King's son. Reward, 500. 000, 000 EXP, 500. 000 crazy point, 100. 000 proficiency. At the same time, Dragon Race's overall favorability is 100 points. It was easy to get EXP, and occasionally do some side quests. The reward he got was quite good. Immediately after he left, when he was about to walk outside, a somewhat familiar Dragon Race person walked past him. Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed. After looking at the person, he found that this person was really familiar. Yi Tianyun hurriedly moved and stopped in front of the person and asked, "Excuse me, can I ask you a question?" "Huh?" "So it turns out to be young Master Long's benefactor. I don't know what question you have. As long as I can answer it, I will answer it." This person was middle-aged, and his cultivation was not weak. He was already at the 3rd layer of Saint King's stage. Previously, when he was assisting the Dragon King in the Great Array, he found that the proportion of human bloodline was relatively large. In fact, this is not uncommon. Only a small part of the dragon race has the bloodline of the dragon race, but the dragon race recognizes its existence. After all, this is not the bloodline of the dragon race, but the bloodline of the dragon race. "Do you have a son and a daughter named Renlong and Renjiro?" Yi Tianyun asked. "You know Renlong and Renjiro?" This person was obviously surprised. "Are you really their father?" Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. He saw that this person was quite familiar. Renlong looked somewhat similar to him. So he boldly guessed that this person could be Renlong's father, and after asking, it was really true. "Yes, I wonder how they are now." Ren Filong asked excitedly. "They are in good condition, but you have not returned to the dragon race, so you have been very worried." Yi Tianyun sighed. Sure enough, they had come to the heavenly world. With their strong cultivation, it was naturally impossible for them to descend to the mortal world. They would be blocked by the dragon race. Unless their cultivation was a great realm lower, it would be impossible to descend to the mortal world. "We also want to descend, but the current situation does not allow us to, you can see that." Ren Filong said helplessly. That's not a problem, as long as the two of you are fine, I will go back and inform my big brother. Yi Tianyun smiled and said, Renlong is now my big brother, I did not expect to find the two of you in the dragon race. Chapter 862. After chatting with Ren Failong for a while, Yi Tianyun knew that their situation was not bad. They had all become elders here. If Ren Long came up, he would be able to directly come to the dragon clan's side. There was no need for him to wander around. When he returned, he would tell Ren Long and the others about this matter. If they really did not want to stay in the mortal realm, they could come to the dragon clan. After all, their parents were elders here, so the treatment they received wouldn't be bad. Especially since their talent was not bad, if they came here, they would definitely be able to display their skills. After chatting, he quickly headed to the Heavenly Abyss Forest to see what was going on. The evil spirit race accidentally spilled the beans. Even though he kept denying it, he still heard some clues. Hurry up and get rid of the internal trouble. If we attack, it will be a pincer attack. Yi Tianyun was most worried about this kind of situation. If they did not eliminate the evil spirit race first, if they waited for the evil spirit race's reinforcements to arrive, they would be in trouble. That was why he strongly urged everyone to eradicate the evil spirit race. No matter how uncooperative they were, they had to put down their grudges and eliminate the evil spirit race first. The Heavenly Abyss Forest was not too far from the Dragon Clan, and it was a pretty good training ground. There were many demon beasts inside, and it was very suitable for cultivators with low cultivation. The Dragon Clan liked to let their clansmen go there to train. The cultivation of the demon beasts there was neither high nor low, and there were many good spirit medicines. Therefore, not only the Dragon Clan, but also many other cultivators. With Yi Tianyun's extremely fast speed, he quickly arrived near the Heavenly Abyss Forest. He didn't know if the Dragon Clan had leaked the news, but the sooner he could settle the matter, the better. The Heavenly Abyss Forest is indeed strange. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. When he looked down from the sky, the strange thing about the forest was that the deeper he went, the more he went downwards. In the center of the Heavenly Abyss Forest, it had already turned into an abyss that led to the bottom of the ground. Some of those towering trees grew directly on the cliff of the abyss, not just one or two, but densely packed. If he accidentally fell down, it would not be a big deal. He just had to climb up the tree. He did not even need to know how to fly. After he arrived, he glanced around and immediately took in the surrounding situation. There were many cultivators harvesting spiritual herbs nearby. This Heavenly Abyss Forest was so vast that Yi Tianyun couldn't see the end of it. However, although there were treasures of the world here, no one dared to make this place their territory. There were simply too many demonic beasts here, and it was difficult to defend against sneak attacks from all directions. The terrain was very disadvantageous. As such, there had never been any faction here. However, there were still some abandoned cities here, which proved that living here was not feasible. At most, they could only stay here temporarily. It was impossible for them to stay here for a long time. If we hide here, it will indeed be difficult for 10 stars to cover this place. Yi Tianyun looked up at the sky. The area covered by the 10 stars hadn't reached here. The King of the Heavens hadn't truly sealed the skies. He could only control an area. However, this was already quite powerful. At the very least, he could suppress an area as his own territory. Anyone who trespassed into his territory could be easily killed. The areas that were coincidentally covered by the 10 stars were all very good areas. Most of the cultivators were moving in this area. When he first arrived here to investigate, his gaze swept across the area and immediately locked onto an area in the distance. He immediately sensed the aura of the evil spirit race there. In that area, there were a few cultivators searching for spirit medicines everywhere, wanting to search for treasures here. Are there any spirit medicines in this area? It's so close to the exit. Zhao Hua looked around and saw piles of trees. He couldn't see a single spirit herb at all. If we continue to go deeper, our strength will not be enough. We can only try our luck outside. When we meet a powerful demon beast, will you be able to block it? Another Xianghua snorted, then looked at his junior sister and said, "Don't you think so, junior sister?" The little girl looked around vigilantly and said seriously, "Senior brothers, be careful, don't smile mischievously. Master has taught us to be careful." "Junior sister, you're exaggerating. This place is so outside, how can it be dangerous?" Xianghua laughed. "No matter what, we must be careful." Junior sister coldly snorted. "Yes, yes, yes." Seeing their junior sister so serious, the two senior brothers shook their heads helplessly. Their junior sister was good at everything, but she was too cautious. The cultivation of the three of them was not high, only at the spirit core stage. They planned to look for spirit medicines or hunt some low-level demon beasts. This was the most basic experience. If they couldn't reach the standard, they wouldn't be able to return to the sect. Immediately after they took 2 steps, the junior sister quickly pulled out her long sword, stared at the front and shouted, "There's a situation." The 2 senior brothers hurriedly prepared, then they found a middle-aged man in front of them, which made them suddenly speechless. "Junior sister, calm down, it's a fellow cultivator who just happened to pass by." Xianghua put away his weapon and smiled, "Fellow cultivator, are you here to gain experience together?" "Almost, I'm here to hunt." "I'm really sorry for scaring you." The middle-aged man smiled slightly, looking like he was harmless. The junior sister slightly relaxed her vigilance, at least it was not a demon beast, and seeing a cultivator, she was a little relieved. "It's okay, by the way, what are you here to hunt, is it the moonlight beast?" Zhao Hua asked. "No, it's to hunt you." As soon as he finished speaking, 2 arms suddenly appeared behind the middle-aged man and quickly rushed in front of Zhao Hua. He opened his huge mouth and swallowed Zhao Hua, not waiting for Zhao Hua to react. The big mouth could fit Zhao Hua's head, it wanted to swallow Zhao Hua in one bite. "Run, run." This scared them and they hurriedly ran away, but how could they be as fast as the middle-aged man? The middle-aged man obviously came prepared, and in the blink of an eye, he had already swallowed Zhao Hua. Zhao Hua was so scared that his face turned pale, and he staggered and fell to the ground. Save me!" Zhao Hua shouted in horror. Xianghua and the others pulled out their swords and stabbed the monster, but the evil spirit race was even faster. The 2 arms on his back had 2 more weapons, and he fiercely whipped them, sending them flying. "Go to the side, it will be your turn soon." "Finally, there's some food, and it looks very delicious." The evil spirit race laughed and continued to open his mouth to swallow Zhao Hua. Just as he was about to swallow it, a figure had already flashed to his side, grabbed his head and pressed it against the ground. With a peng sound, he almost fainted from the impact. "It really didn't take much effort to find someone to lead the way as soon as I arrived." Chapter 863. Yi Tianyun suddenly rushed down and instantly controlled the evil spirit race, giving them a big fright. This could be said to be a divine soldier that suddenly saved them. Zhao Hua stared blankly at Yi Tianyun. He had already given up all hope, but now that he saw the evil spirit race that was about to devour him being controlled, he immediately heaved a sigh of relief, feeling as if he had just survived a calamity. Xianghua and the others were the same. They all stared blankly at Yi Tianyun, not knowing whether he was an enemy or a friend. If one of them left, and another one that was even more ferocious came, they would be dead for sure. Xianghua and the others' legs went soft, not knowing what to do. They were still sitting on the ground paralyzed. They were all stunned by the evil spirit race just now, and now they were paralyzed on the ground, unable to move. "Little, junior sister, should we run away immediately?" Xianghua said with a trembling voice. "It's better not to run, so as not to anger him." Little junior sister's face turned pale, she was frightened by this scene. But if we don't run, what if he wants to eat us like that monster from before? Xiang Hua expressed his worry. If we eat it, can we escape? Little junior sister shook her head, thinking of Yi Tianyun's speed. They couldn't even see it clearly. How could they escape? Immediately after, Yi Tianyun raised the evil spirit race. His eyes flashed with a bright light, and looked at the evil spirit race. Look at me. The evil spirit race was filled with shock. When he raised his head to look at Yi Tianyun and wanted to say something, he immediately felt as if he was looking at a whirlpool. His consciousness was quickly sucked in and gradually disappeared. Very good. Yi Tianyun nodded his head in satisfaction. This evil spirit race's cultivation was not high, it was only at the core transformation stage, but it was very easy to hunt cultivators here. After controlling the evil spirit race, he turned to look at the three people and said, I advise you to leave quickly. Don't stay here, it's not that safe here. With that, he grabbed the evil spirit race's head and flew away, leaving the three of them looking at each other in dismay. They all thought that Yi Tianyun would do something to them, but who would have thought that nothing would happen? In reality, Yi Tianyun wouldn't do anything to them. Who is he? Why is he so powerful? That monster was at least at the core transformation stage, right? Xiang Hua was shocked. It doesn't matter who he is, as long as he doesn't attack us. Just now, I thought we were done for. Zhao Hua shuddered. Recalling that bloody mouth, he felt that he would have nightmares for a long time. Little junior sister looked at Yi Tianyun's back as he left. Her beautiful eyes flickered. No matter who he is our savior. Both of them looked at their junior sister's eyes and shook their heads. This was obviously a situation where their hearts were secretly in love. They didn't expect that even after working so hard, they were still not as good as a passerby. After Yi Tianyun grabbed the evil spirit race and flew away, he came to a remote area and put the evil spirit race down. Where is your base? Yi Tianyun asked. At the bottom of the heavenly abyss forest. The evil spirit race answered truthfully. Sure enough, they are hiding at the bottom of the heavenly abyss forest. This answer was not unexpected. There were so many places to hide in the heavenly realm, and the heavenly abyss forest was very good. There were many demon beasts here, and there were often cultivators coming here, which meant that there was always food coming here. How could they not guard here? Especially here, the 10 stars couldn't detect this place, so this was definitely a paradise. Under the lead of the evil spirit race, they quickly flew forward. After passing through layers of forest, they finally arrived at the depression in the central area. Here, it was as if a huge meteorite had smashed down, and then smashed a huge pit here. It looked very spacious. But now it was full of trees, and it didn't look as spectacular as when it was bare. Along the way, Yi Tianyun interrogated him about the general situation, such as how many people were hiding below, and what they were plotting here. People knew a little, that there were many evil spirit race hiding below, but there were very few purebred ones. There were at most 10 purebred ones, and the strongest ones were at the Saint King stage. Their descendants were all bred by capturing cultivators. As time passed, their numbers would increase, eventually reaching a very shocking number. As soon as these evil spirit race were born, they would not be allowed to come into contact with their biological mother. They would immediately be brought outside to undergo devilish training. They would be forced to hunt demon beasts or cultivators, nurturing them into an extremely vicious evil spirit race. In short, there was basically no humanity to speak of. Even if they had the bloodline of the human race, it was meaningless. The evil spirit race that had long been nurtured into an extremely savage race would only listen to the orders of the evil spirit race. For example, the evil spirit race that had been captured was a human race through and through. It was just that he had even devoured his own race. Originally, he had wanted to capture that woman and bring her back so that he could reproduce. However, he did not expect that someone would suddenly appear out of nowhere, ruthlessly intercept him, and capture him. It's the same as those fellows from before who are worse than beasts, constantly plundering the women of other races to reproduce. Thinking of that scene, Yi Tianyun's eyes were filled with killing intent, and he rushed down faster and faster. At the same time, he used his spiritual sense to investigate the surroundings. There were generally no problems, and there were cultivators moving around. If they continued like this, they would either become food or be caught and dragged to the bottom of the abyss. These evil spirit races were probably laughing even in their dreams. With so many cultivators nearby, there was an endless supply of rations. However, Yi Tianyun was getting angrier and angrier in his heart. He never thought that they would be able to hide here. Then, he quickly descended. At the bottom of the heavenly abyss forest, there was also an extremely vast area below. There was also a lush forest growing underground. Even without a trace of sunlight, it was still extremely lush. At the corner of the bottom, there was a special tunnel that led underground. Going down was the place where the evil spirit race was hiding. The hiding area was very careful. If one wasn't proficient in divine inscriptions, they wouldn't be able to discover this entrance. Even if Yi Tianyun didn't have anyone to lead the way, he would still be able to find this entrance. However, he had to rely on his powerful strength to find it. This concealment technique is truly ingenious. As expected of a foreign expert. If it wasn't for the fact that my cultivation is a little stronger, I really wouldn't have been able to find it. Yi Tianyun's eyes flickered, his appraisal eye quickly went deeper inside, and after finding a safe spot, he extended his hand and crushed the evil spirit race that was grabbing him. Following that, he was burned into a pile of ashes by the inextinguishable fire. Chapter 864. After Yi Tianyun came in, there was no need for him to lead the way, so he killed him easily. After coming in quietly, his soul sense instantly covered this area, and he carefully explored the situation in all areas. The powerful spiritual sense of a divine king easily covered the entire area, without any difficulty. He just didn't want to alert the enemy, and he didn't want to let these beasts slip away. His cultivation was very strong, but he couldn't suppress them by force. After all, there were many cultivators imprisoned here, so he couldn't suppress them at will. If it was all the evil spirit race inside, Yi Tianyun would suppress them and kill them with a slap. This was undoubtedly very easy, but they had captured a large number of cultivators, so he could only sneak in and save them. His figure gradually disappeared, and when he sneaked in, there was a burst of laughter in the depths of the passage. The few cultivators I went to capture just now were all dumber than the last. When they saw me, they thought I was one of them. Bullshit, I'm the same race as them, it's disgusting. Hee hee, that's right. They were all dumber, they all thought we were the same race, so they didn't have any wariness. I also caught a few women just now, this time we can play again. We can catch a lot of cultivators every day. These cultivators are really stupid, they thought they were killed by demonic beasts. Last time, that group of people even brought their master, saying that they wanted to find corpses. Who knew that this would be even better, they could capture all of them in one go. Thinking of the taste of those people, it's really good, it suits my taste. They were all discussing, there were many cultivators locked in the cages beside them, their hands and feet were tied, and the tendons of their hands and feet were broken. Even if they weren't locked, it would be difficult for them to escape. Most of the survivors were women and children. As for the men, they had already been eaten by them, there was no way they would be left. As for the children, they didn't want to raise them, but when they were hungry, they would devour the children. The children were more delicious, they must have been put at the back to slowly taste, they were not anxious at all. They were lying there was no life in their eyes, they were completely in despair. They came out to train, but who knew that they would encounter a group of monsters, so they were trapped here. You monsters, Master will avenge me. One of the girls shouted, her eyes filled with anger. That's right, you monsters. Even if we die, Master will avenge us. I will kill all of you monsters, a bunch of trash. Master will come and save us. At that time, you will all die. Some were in despair, while others had just been captured. Thus, they all had high hopes for their masters, hoping that their masters would be able to find them. Ha, another bunch of daydreaming fools. It would be best if your master were here. We can't wait to bring more experts over. We can catch them one by one and eat them. It's a great tonic for us. That's right. Shout louder. Even if you shout yourself hoarse, no one will care about you. One by one, they laughed out loud. They were the caretakers of this place and would occasionally go out to hunt. The real territory was naturally in the inner region. The outer region was just a cage. It would be much more convenient to set the cage outside. After capturing them, he threw them into the cage and returned them to the headquarters. Therefore, the cage was quite spacious and could accommodate thousands of people. This cage would never be full, because when there were not enough people, they would be captured and used as food. Yes, it's useless. The cultivators who had been imprisoned for an unknown period of time had eyes filled with despair. They all wanted to commit suicide. However, after committing suicide, it would be useless. They would all be eaten. They had all personally witnessed the cultivators beside them being eaten bit by bit. Just thinking about it made them feel disgusted. However, it was still rather difficult to commit suicide. They were all cultivators, so biting their tongues to commit suicide was not realistic at all. Basically, they would not die. The aura of despair gradually enveloped the entire area, and also affected the cultivators at the side. They had been holding on to hope before, but now that they saw the cultivators who had been captured, their hearts turned cold. Was there really no way to escape? Continue shouting, why aren't you shouting anymore? The evil spirit race glanced over. They just wanted to hear the curses, the more vicious the other party's curses, the better. In any case, they had nothing to do here. Dong, 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 at this moment, the sound of footsteps approached them step by step. The heavy footsteps immediately attracted their attention. Who's back? I wonder if he will bring back many cultivators. If there are a lot of them, we can split them up and eat them right now. The evil spirit race even licked his lips. The one who appeared in their line of sight was not from the same race, but from Yi Tianyun, who was walking over step by step. As soon as he appeared, he looked at them coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. Who are you? When they saw Yi Tianyun, they immediately became vigilant. A weapon quickly appeared in their hands, and they surrounded Yi Tianyun. This unfamiliar face was obviously not one of their own. There weren't many of them to begin with, so they would remember all their faces. Yi Tianyun waved his hand, grabbing their necks in the air and lifting them up. He continuously swayed his feet in the air, his mouth could only emit yeah sounds, he could not make any other sounds, not even half a word. Immediately after, Yi Tianyun waved his other hand, and with a pa sound, the iron chains binding them turned into a pile of powder that fell to the ground, and the cage that imprisoned them turned into a pile of ashes. They were all dumbfounded. The sudden change caused them to be flabbergasted, and they were unable to react to what was going on. They all thought that they were dead for sure and that it was impossible for them to survive. Who would have thought that a youth would appear out of nowhere and not only liberate them, he would also control the guards. Kill them. Yi Tianyun threw out the 3 evil spirit races that he had picked up. Their powers were all sealed, and they couldn't even make a single sound. The cultivators who had been imprisoned for a long time had their eyes filled with shock, but soon after, there was even more anger in them. They randomly picked up things and threw them at the evil spirit race who had fallen to the ground. If there was nothing, they would punch and kick them. In any case, they just wanted to vent the anger in their hearts. Although they hadn't eaten for a long time and had been tortured to a terrible state, when they erupted, each of them was more powerful than the last. 3 core transformation stage evil spirit races were beaten to death just like that. Chapter 865. I'll leave this place to you. Whether it's the ones who broke in or the ones who escaped, I'll leave them to you to deal with. Kill them all. Tianyun glanced at the dumbfounded cultivators and added, just like you, they were tortured. As for what you think, that's up to you. When the 12 golden hairpins saw them, their cold gazes immediately softened. Seeing that they had suffered the same fate, they naturally could not be heartless. After explaining things clearly, Tianyun walked straight into the depths of the abyss. He seemed to be taking one step at a time, but the next moment, he disappeared from everyone's sight. After Tianyun left, the group of people stared blankly in the direction in which he had left. Who is he? Savior? They stared blankly at the entrance, then at the 12 golden hairpins. They did not know what Tianyun had meant. The 12 golden hairpins did not say much. One by one, they took out food and all kinds of clean clothes for the women to wear or eat. At the same time, they said something and comforted the trapped people. After entering, Tianyun walked through the long corridor in 2 or 3 steps. After passing through this walkway, what came into view was a huge winding staircase. It went down in circles endlessly. It was as if after walking out of this corridor, he had arrived at another abyss. Who are you? The guards on the side hurriedly raised their weapons to attack. However, with a flick of Tianyun's hand, the guards turned into ashes, leaving nothing behind. Tianyun walked forward and looked down the bottomless pit in front of him. He discovered that at the bottom was a huge array. Upon closer inspection, he realized that this array was a transportation array. He had not expected that there would be a transportation array at the bottom. This made him very surprised. Where did this teleportation array lead to? However, the situation that had unfolded now made him very angry. Beside this transportation array, there were several blood ponds with many corpses in them. The corpses of the cultivators could be seen with the naked eye. A steady stream of blood flowed down the lines of the array and filled the entire transportation array. On the side, there were 3 evil spirit races presiding over something, constantly chanting, as if they were chanting an incantation. Tianyun frowned and jumped down. Boom! He stepped on the teleportation array, and with a loud noise, the teleportation array was dented, and it was directly destroyed. The host and the 3 evil spirit race beings were directly sent flying. They died before they could even scream. It could even be said that they had turned into ashes before they could even see what had happened. The cultivations of these 3 evil spirit race masters weren't low, all of them were at the Saint King stage. They should be 3 of the 5 remaining evil spirit race masters. Tianyun didn't care about their lives and simply stomped them to death. You, who are you? Those familiar words rang in his ears once again. Was there nothing else to say other than these words? Tianyun turned his head and saw that there were 5 thrones on the side, 2 of which were occupied by people at the Saint King stage. Of the 5, 3 were dead, of course, only 2 were left. When they saw Tianyun suddenly appear and kill their companion with a single kick, they were scared out of their wits. They all knew the cultivation of their companion. The fact that he was killed by a single kick was enough to prove how terrifying his cultivation was. Is it important who I am? Tianyun stretched out his hand and pinched the void. The 2 of them were immediately lifted up. No matter how they struggled, they couldn't break free from Tianyun's restraint. Then the 2 evil spirit race masters were dragged over by Tianyun. After arriving in front of him, Tianyun looked at them coldly and said, "Why are you drawing a teleportation formation here?" "Humph, even if we die, we won't tell you." They weren't afraid of death at all. Although they were a bit cruel, they had a lot of backbone. "Won't tell you." Tianyun stretched out his hand and grabbed the head of one of the evil spirit race masters. He immediately used Soul Search to extract the memories of the evil spirit race master. Previously, his cultivation was relatively low, so it was a bit difficult for him to use Soul Search on Saint King stage cultivators, but now it was different. With his cultivation greatly increased, it was relatively easy to use soul search. Even if he couldn't search all of the memories, at least he could search some of them. After a while, the evil spirit race's head suddenly exploded, along with its body. It really gave people a fright. And, I found a lot of information. It seems that you arranged this teleportation formation to teleport to the underworld? Tianyun shook his head and said, it seems that the underworld is really your paradise, but your people in the underworld are all dead. Even if you go down there, it's useless. What? The evil spirit race master was dumbfounded. He didn't know what was going on. Tianyun grabbed his head again and began to search his soul crazily. The memories he obtained weren't very complete, so he wanted to search again. When the evil spirit race master's memories were crazily searched, his eyes rolled back. Very quickly, blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. It was a tragic sight. Tianyun had never held back when dealing with them. A moment later, the evil spirit race's ancestor also exploded and died. The speed of the search was too fast, to the point that they couldn't withstand it, resulting in their bodies exploding. Tianyun's eyes flickered, he roughly knew what was going on. They wanted to open the underworld teleportation formation and wait for their companions to rescue them. Since they could only move around in this area, they dug a deep pit. There were many evil spirit race people living here, so it was perfect as a hiding spot. Old ancestor. The commotion here was quite big, so many evil spirit race people came down from above. There were all kinds of races mixed together, and there were even some with the bloodline of the dragon race. It was obvious that they had captured a lot of people. They were truly despicable. When they saw Tianyun, their eyes immediately turned red and they said angrily, "You actually killed the ancestor, fight him to the death." The group of people had long since believed in the 5 ancestors and had been completely brainwashed. There was no way to save them. It's time to end this. Tianyun stepped on the ground, and with a boom, he flew up, and then with a flip of his hand, he fiercely pressed down on the tunnel, and a huge palm pressed down from the sky. The tyrannical giant palm shattered the tunnel inch by inch. Before the evil spirit race in the room could even react, they were already completely dead. Chapter 866. After Tianyun destroyed this place, he quickly left the passage. There were also many corpses outside. It was obvious that the evil spirit clan had come up from below, or some of them had come back, but they encountered the 12 golden hairpins and were easily dealt with. The 12 golden hairpins' cultivation was very strong. Even the weakest among them was at the core transformation stage, so as long as it was not a Spirit King stage cultivator, they could deal with them easily. Leave this place. After Tianyun came out, he looked at them and led the way out. The group of cultivators followed. With the help of the 12 golden hairpins, they had recovered a lot of strength, so they could quickly keep up. Only some of the more serious injuries needed someone to support them. Tianyun did not speed up his pace. Instead, he slowly walked outside. He was not in a hurry at all. The situation here had been resolved. Logically speaking, he should be able to breathe a sigh of relief, but he was still frowning. They will be here in a few months' time. Tianyun's face was gloomy. When he was searching through the memories of those 2 fellows, he discovered an extremely terrifying thing, and that was that these evil spirit races had used the transmission array to contact their own race. He did not expect that the teleportation array could not only lead to the underworld, but also serve as a communication array that could allow them to contact their clansmen in the ancestral land. After contacting them, the other party said that they had already sent powerful reinforcements. They would arrive in at most 3 to 4 months, or at least 2 months. This meant that the evil spirit clan's army did not have much time left. In just a few months, there were still many things that needed to be planned. After all, they had just started their operation not long ago. After a comprehensive cleanup, there were still many aspects that needed to be dealt with. Who would have thought that they would only have 3 to 4 months? Less than half a year. This was too rushed. It could be said that in the blink of an eye, they had already arrived. This matter must be spread out and reported to the 3 realms as soon as possible. This was not a joke. There was not much time left. Even if they had any grudges before, they had to let go of them now. If they still fought for power, they would not even know how they died. It seems that I have to race against time. Yi Tianyun hadn't expected them to arrive so quickly. He had thought that there would still be a long time, but it seemed like the other party couldn't wait any longer and was madly attacking him. If they could hold on, they could continue protecting the 3 realms. But if they lost, all of them would be finished. After exiting, Yi Tianyun waved his hand, and they flew together with him. They didn't even need Yi Tianyun to carry them, they could easily fly up. In fact, if one's cultivation reached the Spirit King stage, he would be able to fly easily. It was equivalent to using an invisible spiritual power to bind them and then dragging them up into the sky. It was that simple. Under Yi Tianyun's lead, they quickly flew out of the area. When they flew outside, Yi Tianyun put them down and said, "You can leave now. There won't be any danger here." Some of the cultivators were pleasantly surprised. They kowtowed to Yi Tianyun to express their gratitude and quickly left the place. Most of the cultivators knelt in front of Yi Tianyun and did not leave. "What do you mean by this?" Yi Tianyun frowned and said, "We want to follow our benefactor. Our sisters have already told us that our family members have already been killed. We only want revenge in our hearts and want to kill all the evil spirit races." "That's right. Our only motivation now is to kill all the evil spirit race. So please, benefactor, take us in." They all knelt on the ground and begged Yi Tianyun to take them in. They had nowhere else to go. Their loved ones had long been plundered and eaten in front of them. They were filled with anger and despair. Now that they had come out alive, they had already lost their motivation to live. All they wanted was revenge. Apart from revenge, they still wanted revenge. "Master, we will be responsible for training them. We won't burden you at all." One of the 12 golden hairpins immediately stood up and pleaded. They all had the same experience, so they didn't need to communicate too much. They already had a great tacit understanding with each other. "Good." Yi Tianyun looked at them and said, "You have your own rights. I won't object to taking them in, but in return, you have to take good care of them." "We will." The 12 golden hairpins shouted in unison. "Very good. I will give you a task now. Kill all the evil spirit race in this area. I believe you all know the specifics." Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. "I promise to complete the task." The 12 golden hairpins' eyes were full of surprise. They immediately stood up and quickly left the area with the injured. Some of them found a place to rest. These people were handed over to them. They were the subordinates of the 12 golden hairpins. Ding, successfully subdued Hua Yu as a divine general. Reward, 500. 000 EXP, 20,000 crazy point, 20,000 proficiency. Ding, successfully subdued Yu Fang as a divine general. Reward, at this time, notifications kept popping up. They all became divine generals. Yi Tianyun looked at the notification and didn't feel surprised. They chose to follow the 12 golden hairpins, which is equivalent to following him, so the reward will naturally go to him. Yi Tianyun looked at the back of the 2 girls, then disappeared from the area with a single step. In the Heavenly Abyss Forest, the powerful evil spirit race has been killed, so there is no need to worry about them. That's why he let them do this task. Kill all the evil spirit race in this area. This is their task, and it is also a task for the new recruits to gain experience. In a blink of an eye, Yi Tianyun quickly returned to Fengtian Divine Kingdom. As soon as he saw his grandfather, he hurriedly said, "Grandpa, quickly issue the order to gather all the alliances here." There is a very serious matter to announce. He is now going to announce the situation of the evil spirit race's attack. There is not much time left. He needs to start immediately. Is the evil spirit race going to attack? Yi Yuanlong is not a fool. Looking at Yi Tianyun's expression, he knows what is going on. Yes, it is only 3 or 4 months at most, maybe even less. Yi Tianyun said truthfully. Well, I will go and issue the message now. Yi Yuanlong was shocked. But now he can only fight with everything he has. Yi Tianyun's eyes were burning. He clenched his fist and said solemnly, this is a fight to the death. I only hope that the evil spirit race is not too strong. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.